Hello and welcome everybody back once again to the Monday GT4 Rookies and GT4 Open. I'm Mike Nause in the booth here for a lovely race at Suzuka. Hope everyone's having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning wherever you are in this fine world. Jam-packed evening ahead of us here tonight with a grand total of 3 races plus some stream racer in the middle. I'm going to be alone here at the beginning, but of course we will be having a lovely co-commentator join later on. So big shout out to Carson Cass, who will be joining us. He's going to be in the rookie race though first, of course. But in the meantime, welcome everybody. I see we have Patty, and holy smokes, speak of the devil, there he is himself, dropping a tier 1 subscription. Thank you, Carson. Much appreciated. Welcome everyone. I see we got Patty already correcting me on one of my mistakes. You love to see it, but that's all right. We got the updated title now. Cody Blanton, Doc Milwee, Rally Dutchy, and Potts Weaver, who's been on an absolute stormer of a streak here in the Rookie Championship. Looking at the previous week, Potts Weaver managing to take both race wins. So incredible job for him. We also have Aaron Miller, one of those drivers to look out. Devin Smallblock Anthony doing pretty well, managing a P3 in the first race, or in the second race, excuse me, but not the first one. Looks like P4 in GT4 at Indy. You're right. Good call. Not at Indy. We are at Suzuka. Let's change that. I don't know how that one got so messed up, but neither here nor there. We're live on the spot, and we fix things as we go. There we go. It's now been changed. Thanks, Rally. Once again, keeping me honest. Round 7. It's round 6, isn't it? How did this one get so incredibly messed up? No, wait, it is round 7, isn't it? Regardless, welcome everybody as we fix things again live here. And it is round 6, not round 7, so we'll also change that. But, hey, it's right now, I think. Also, Potts, thank you, much appreciated. Yeah, I was gone for a little bit, but I am in fact back. So happy to be back as well, back behind the booth. We do have a lovely track ahead of us, one of my personal favorites. Championships have been decided here. I don't think we're going to see any championships decided here tonight for the rookies, or the Open for that matter, as there's still quite a bit of the championship left. We can take a look at our calendar here before we head on into the session and what we have over on SimGrid, link there in chat. We have our Rookie League, of course, which you're looking at right now. That's going to be here on Suzuka next week and Coda. Do sign up if you are still new. Obviously, there's no points on the line for this championship. Well, there is, but nobody, you know, it's a rookie championship. So mostly all for fun. Do sign up if you are looking to dip your toes into that shark-infested water that is Simracing. That's a little bit more of a reasonable pond to swim into. But the GT4 Open, also very, very fun, I should say. I was going to say competitive, but it's competitive in a fun way. We'll be seeing a bit more of that later tonight. More on that in a minute. We have our GT2 series, GT Tuesdays, up next at Imola. We also have our West Coast Wednesdays. We have our GT3 Reverse Grid, which has come to a close. What a great championship that was. Brands Hatch up next on March 9th for our GT4 Endurance Leagues. And we, of course, have our Sunday GT3 main events. That is going to be over at Indy. I see what happened. I copied the wrong event. That's okay. Also, big thank you to all of our patrons, past, present, and future. We can see all of their lovely, lovely names on screen here. Carson being one of the newest, and as well as Mason Pierchalski. Much appreciated to them. As well as I said, anyone else in the future. If you guys are interested in supporting us on Patreon, obviously what we do here, we put on a free show. That takes quite a bit of work. And your guys' support is immensely welcome, and it helps do what we do here. So much appreciated. You guys power along the reins here at TRACKILICIOUS, and your support is, well, how we do it. So thank you in advance. Why don't we take a look, though, at our grid as we head on in, or not grid, but as we head down towards the session here. We got cars on track, Patty Doring in the II liveries. I think that's going to be an AI generated, an AI, it's AI, that's what it is. Okay, clever, clever. Comes to the line, P3. And energy for me, thank you. Much appreciated. I'm going to need some energy. I'm a bit tired here tonight, you know, it happens. Got a long stream ahead of us, though, so do not fret. Got plenty of time to wake up. Who is that? That's Mason Pierczalski, our current pole sitter in that lovely martini. Wow, that's very loud. But thank you very much to Pranav Kalevala to gifting a sub to Potts Weaver. Much appreciated. Potts, I think, out on track right now, so a little bit occupied. No, he's still in pit lane. But will be out on track relatively soon. We have a split qualifying session here, which you guys cannot see the times of. There you go. The even numbers will be out first, the odd numbers out after that 10-minute mark. Ooh, Mason's getting a little bit lively there when it comes to the rear end for that Porsche. BOP the Merc race. I feel, I sense some strong opinions from Mason here towards the Mercedes. Currently, though, the German machinery on pole position here, the Porsche. But we have no other times really to be set. The 804 here of JB Ruzic. The line here, what's it going to be? P2, not bad, 7/10 off. Still a gap there to Mason Pierczalski. Plenty of room to slide on into there for these drivers that have yet to set a time. Another driver does do exactly that, Will Menters. That number 10 Porsche is beautiful. I love this number 10 Porsche. The Martini, BOP the Merc, obviously the tribute to the Martini livery, I think, would have been this. Oh man, now I'm testing. I'm gonna make a fool of myself. It wasn't the Audi, it was the Subaru, wasn't it? Back in the days, the old rally days. Oh, I think also a Formula One car, but. Ooh, speaking of rally days, Mason, he's trying to take to that this time around the track. Through the Degnas, not too successful. That's going to be an invalidation, and next time around he will have to try again. Lancia, yeah, I think you're right there, Lancia. Having the lovely Martini, the famous rally car. Lancia, I think the first rear-wheel drive rally car, if I'm not mistaken, to hit the field. Or was that the Audi Quattro? See, now I'm just talking out, you know what, because, yeah, my rally knowledge is not quite as good as I would like it to be, but was the Lancia the first one to hit the scene with rear-wheel drive? Or four-wheel drive? And Eric says Porsche. Porsche might have, but thought it was Lancia. And Pranav, yeah, the brutal class / car combo. It is a brutal track. Overtaking opportunities are very, very low here. High speed corners. That first corner, nice run down to there, and it's pretty difficult to get an overspeed. These GT4s are all about momentum, sort of like driving an MX-5. So about carrying that speed. JB Ruzic carries his speed up to a pole position, though, the 804. Mason Pierczalski, can he answer on this lap? He has one more attempt here to make that happen. Also, Derek Santiago entering the conversation here in the number 34 on an invalid lap, and he will not be able to start another one. That virtual checkered flag is going to fall, and hopefully he read the driver's briefing. As there are the rest of the cars coming out on track. Joe Khalil also is going to be putting that down to an invalidation. Oh, a little bit sketchy there, but managing to make it work. And Porsche did have one. Interesting. It was one of the last ones to win rear-wheel drive. Is that the case? Man, Lancia. They were dominant at one point in time. I know that. But yes, obviously then all-wheel drive became the king. And yes, to this day, obviously, four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, the dominant factor in rally cars. These are all, though, rear-wheel drive, of course. Mike Freund doesn't actually get a time on the board. No, wait, wait. No, he doesn't get a time on the board. That's going to be the end of his qualifying. Did he get out of sequence? He's continuing on, though the even qualifying is over. There we go. Mason Pierzchalski did get to the line in time, though. So, is he going to improve here? He needs 2/10 to get pole position. As the number 10 here comes around the final corner, gets onto the throttle nice and early, runs it wide here, keeps it tight. There you go. To the line. Is it going to be an improvement? No, it is not. No improvement made. 2/10 slower this lap for Mason Pierzchalski. Will Mentors, similar story. 3/10 not improved. Now on to the odd qualifying. Scott Sullivan here beginning his lap. Why don't we get a little bit of a cockpit view? See what it's like to wrestle the wheel of the AMG here. The 43 of Scott Sullivan looking for that little slip road onto the side. You can see him aiming for the corner early. Brilliant car placement there on the entry of the corner. Back onto the throttle there a little bit late, but using all of the track. Nicely done. Oh, misses the apex into the S's. That first corner is one of the most important corners because you can see it set him offline for the sequence of corners after that. Here he's able to rein it back in and get onto the proper line, onto the throttle a little bit late, but you can see the rhythm is just, it's not quite there for Scott here. Luckily it's his first lap. Get a banker onto the board. Climbing the gears, 4th gear now. 5th into the first Degna, sends it in, double downshift. And now again a double downshift into the second Degna. Run it wide here. One of the trickier corners coming up the Dunlop hairpin. Using that kind of guardrail change off to the side as a braking marker. There's a few things that you can use for reference points there, but regardless, a fairly clean and tidy, not much to say there about entry or exit. You can see him fighting that wheel there through 230R. 230R? 200R. There we go. Nice rotation on the rear end there, though, from Scott Sullivan in Spoon Curve. You can see getting on the throttle, the back end dancing out just a little bit. That's exactly what you want here. Obviously, the AMG, naturally an understeery car, front engine, very heavy. Getting a good amount of throttle here. Now, ooh, big downshift, big lift. Obviously, in a GT3, you can keep that flat just about with a downshift. Now into the famous, I guess, Casio Triangle? Is that what they call this, or is that somewhere else? I think this is it. Yeah, the Casio Triangle, if I'm not mistaken off memory. As he heads to the line here, Scott Sullivan, what does he have in terms of time? Pole position. My goodness, by a good margin as well. There's still time on the board for Scott. We saw a couple errors that lap. Oh yes, 230. Look, I was going off of memory there, to be fair. So I'll take it. 200R. I was close. And V, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shouldn't you be out on track, or you've already set your qualifying? You're an even plate, obviously. Rocco Luciano coming home in P12 for right now. Let's see how Carson's doing, everybody. Carson gonna be joining me later on tonight in the booth. We have the Red Rebels Racing, the 777. Currently P14 without a time on the board. Still keeping it valid, though, through the S's. He heads up the hill towards the first Degna. And as V saying there, the sequence of S's, if you're not tight to those apexes, it can really get away with you and run wide. It's such a momentum-based track, especially that first sector. All about maximizing the minimum speed in the corners, but also slow is fast. So you really don't want to carry too much speed into the corner, because that's going to result in obviously a little bit of understeer, which, as we've seen, can result in just a sequence of missed corners. Scott Sullivan also 4/10 up, so he seemed to clean that lap up. And yeah, they're tough in the GT3s, let alone in the GT4s, which have absolutely no aerodynamics whatsoever. None of that invisible mumbo-jumbo pushing them to the floor, really. They have a little bit, but not close to as much as a GT3. Oh dear, the Mercs are going to be at the top. So Mason having the team name Nerf or BOP the Merc Racing, I can maybe see why. Actually, John Hawley, I'm sure we're going to be seeing you out there a little bit later on tonight in the GT4 Open, I'm assuming. And Pranov, talking about momentum, I have none of that at Suzuka. I find that hard to believe, but I get what you mean. Carson Cass comes to the line in P14, 215.2 for the, I guess, future commentator. I'm not sure. We got to think of a name here for Carson. I didn't have anything clever that came to the dome there. It's unfortunate. Whoa, Jose Guzman seeing the gravel getting kicked up here from the Mexican driver of Omar Perez. Currently sitting P3. Omar's been on a tear lately, I gotta say. Potts Weaver, though, into the conversation in that Potts Autosports McLaren, battling with Scott Sullivan, currently 4.5 tenths, but you'd love to see 10 thousandths of a second separating P2 and P3. No, Eric, stop. We don't need any of this. I'm going a little bit too far now, Eric. Didn't wreck on... that's alright. I'm sure... V, you always gotta look forward, right? No wrecking on lap 1 either. Come on. None of that. Keep it clean. And I'm sure it'll be just fine. Keep your nose out of trouble. Carson, show you how, son. What? Okay. I'm sure we'll land on one eventually, but for now, I think we're a little stuck. Pranav running 201s at Suzuka and GT3s. I will admit, that's a little bit, that's almost my pace. So that is kind of saying something. And Chris Schinka, the GOAT. Let's see. As he heads to the line here, what does he have? Currently 2.5 seconds off of the mark. And he stays there, actually. No improvement this lap. Scott Sullivan on another flyer. Through the S's, only improving. I don't think he's had a really poor lap just yet. One of the drivers that just throughout, since joining Trackalicious, I think about 13 months ago, I know at least on Twitch, he's been subscribed for 13 months in a row, which is just incredible. Continued support from Scott Sullivan. Absolute legend. AV6 Scott over on Twitch, if you guys do want to watch his perspective, he's live right now, streaming, so do check that out. Of course, you can pop up both of our streams. I think Aaron Miller, another driver who is going to be streaming this race currently, and going to remain in P7 at least. Chris Chicane Schinka, that's pretty good. We need something that's slightly belittling, though, don't we? Okay, maybe not quite, but something that doesn't get their confidence up, you know? Really stretching your Carson broadcast. I'm not sure what you're going for on that one. Chris may not be P1 in qualifying, but he's P1 in your heart. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Let's see if he can get P1. He's actually doing very well this lap, but Scott Sullivan, I was going to say doing better. I think he invalidated through 130R. Let's see, we got Christoph Schinka, who is currently Trying to see where is he. He's currently going through 130R right now. Okay, Carson, you can't dub yourself. It's gotta, it'll happen with time. It'll happen with time. Let's see, what does Christoph Schinke have? It hasn't been too great just yet, but as he heads to the line here, it's gonna be a good improvement. Currently P11, up to P9. Not bad. Just behind Aaron Miller. Eric, you're trying way too hard. And it doesn't need to rhyme. Some of our best names that we have don't rhyme. Obviously being... Oh my goodness. One Bigley with a $5 dono. Thank you so much, Jacob Church. Absolute legend. Also, I did miss it earlier, but thank you, Madman Firmid... Firmity? Apologies on the mispronunciations. Thank you for the follow, as well as Laundress. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Carlos Guzman, welcome. Heard Eric said no more PTO. That's a good one, actually. Don't let Eric hear you say that. That's okay. Nonetheless, let's get in here and meet our driver, Lana Druss. My apologies. Thank you for the correction. Much appreciated. Welcome. Let's get in here, though, and let's meet our drivers for tonight in the starting order that they are going to be following. Starting off here in P1, Scott Sullivan in that 43 AMG Petronas. Leading the way here tonight with Potts Weaver Company in P2 on that front row. Omar Perez lining up in row 2, and holy smokes indeed. Thank you, Lanadrus, for the prime sub. Jose Guzman going to be 4th quickest here in that qualifying in that 129 with JB Ruzik in P5 in the 804 AMG. Mason Pierchalski 6th quickest in the BOP the Merc Racing with nothing but AMGs and a Soul McLaren in front of him. And Aaron Miller Company next to him in P7. Christoph Schinke 8th quickest with Will Mentors in P9. Rounding out our top 10 is going to be Derek Santiago. Alex Swinsky in P11 with Kevin Wood in 12th. Joe Khalil, 13th fastest here in that Pro Sport Performance number 26. Mike Frund, 14th fastest in the Mediocre Racing in the number 70. Looking for a not so mediocre result here tonight with Carson Cass in the 777 in P15. Rocco Luciano with a solid P16 result here for the number 14 Porsche. Got to keep your nose out of trouble. I'm sure everything will be just fine, V. Mike Fisher, 17th quickest in the number 23 Porsche with Rally Dutchy in 18th. Drew Freiberger, 19th quickest in the 419 with Matt Melanson rounding out our top 20. Dreams Forgotten in P21 with Patty Doring Company, well, I was going to say company, starting off in pit lane after a DSQ in quali. And last but not least, in the Love Wins Racing here, number 73 on the grid, it is going to be Jeff Franks. Grid is set here. Qualifying is well over at this point. And we have our outlap ahead of us here, 3.6 miles at Suzuka. Apologies, let's get that tower out of your face. 3.6 miles at Suzuka, founded back in 1962. 18 corners, 8 to the left, 10 to the right, 40 meters of elevation change, and a good battle ahead of us. We got 20 minutes on the clock here tonight for race 1. No mandatory pit stop, and then there will be a battle after that for another 20-minute race. For now, this is the calm before the storm. You love to see the incoming ad break starting directly as the race starts. We'll snooze that one away. No ads here tonight. Well, yes, sorry, we got minimum ads here tonight. Once again, thank you to all of our supporters, which allow us to run the most minimum ads possible. And a face cam Fiesta on lap 1? Man, I should charge more for that. We can roll with it. Let's see. I'm going to be on the wrong side, though, aren't I? I am. Let's scooch ourselves over here. There we go. Cool. I should have started it a little bit later now that I think about it. Started a little early. We'll start it again. We'll start it again once we get to it. John Holly with a hydrate as well. Let's caffeinate before the stream. No water here. Well, the water, it's down there. I still got the water, but, you know, gotta get some energy before we roll. Obviously, there's other energy drinks available. Monster, if you're watching, best energy drink out there. Until somebody else says otherwise by paying us, but that's okay. Anabiosis, thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. Scooch myself over a little bit more. There we go. It's not perfect. A little scuffed, but it'll do. Leroy, thank you for the follow as well. Much appreciated. Monster sponsorship when? I agree, Monster. Like I say, if you're watching, we can work something out. We can work wonders together. No, one day. The Facecam Fiesta will probably end before the outlap, now that I'm thinking about it. But like I say, we'll kick it off again. You'll get your money's worth. We'll get the first lap Facecam Fiesta up. And Madman, it's Famardi, okay. Madman, wait, hold on. But there's an A at the end. You gotta love, we're gonna go with Famardi. Famardi, thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. Rocking the flavor of Ultra Blue tonight. It tastes like blue, in case anyone was curious. Oh my goodness, don't clip that. Oh. Is what it is. What's said is, it can't be unsaid at this point. Oh, that's okay. Let's, we'll get a little reset on the... I hope this doesn't break anything. It might break something now that I think about it, but that's okay. Like I say, we do it live here. There we go. Okay. As we have it here, the drivers coming around the final corner. Scott Sullivan on pole position, Potts Weaver in P2. 2x2 Noah's Ark formation as we get ready to go green here tonight for race 1 of 3. I'm Mike Nause in the booth. We got a little bit of a calm before the storm here. It's all the way down to the end of the grid box before these cars get rolling. And we get ready here. Once again, the anticipation builds, and we will go. Green, green, green. Now a drive-through penalty immediately for Kevin Wood, but Scott Sullivan getting swamped up by Potts Weaver at the start. It's a drag race down to the first corner. Late on the brakes there for Jose Guzman, as he is going to be getting eaten up immediately by Omar Perez into the first corner. Scott Sullivan retakes the lead, though, and holds on and pulls a nice gap at the start. Great job there from Scott, sticking to it early as Potts Weaver goes backwards here. Omar Perez, the Mexican driver, taking up to P2. Behind that, JB Ruzic trying to find anything that he can at this stage, but all the drivers having to go nip and tuck into the S's. Aaron Miller not finding any ground either as he comes under threat from the Alpine of Christoph Schinke. Not many overtaking opportunities here through the S's up to the Degnas. It's going to be into the hairpin. That's where these drivers are going to be looking for their first real moves. Kevin Wood also going to have to serve that drive-through penalty within the next 3 laps, unfortunately. It's a bit of a disaster here for him early on. No pit stops are required in this race, so that's just going to be pure time loss. Here we are into the Dunlop. Potts Weaver has a little bit of a think towards Omar Perez, but just was nowhere to be found. Also defending from the likes of Jose behind. As we can take a look here from the rear wing of Potts Weaver. He is a little bit of distance behind, but Will Mentors, that is not quite the story. Will Mentors side by side with Christoph Schinke through 200R, heading towards the spoon. Not able to get enough alongside at the moment, though. Behind that, we see Andre Swinski running deep and into the back bumper there of the likes of Christoph Schinke, or no, excuse me, of Will Mentors. He's unfazed, though. A Porsche hitting a Camaro doesn't quite do anything. The other way around, obviously, a little different story. Just needing to trade insurance, that's about it. So it's going to be Kevin Wood under threat. I'm not sure he's going to take that pit stop early or if he's going to wait a little bit, have some battles while he can. Either way, I understand. Everybody, it's been a clean lap 1, I got to say. No big yellow flags are out. There are some battles from the pit lane drivers as Paddy Doring has run completely wide onto Jan Rodrix. He was going for the overtake. Also, I haven't oh, okay, well, never mind. I was gonna say, I haven't disappeared off screen yet, so I don't think my thing's working, but it seems that it worked. You love it when technology works. Potts Weaver, a battle here for P2, side by side with Omar Perez into the S's. Neither driver willing to give an inch, nevertheless a mile, and it looks like Jose Guzman trying to follow Potts through, bumping and banging, and Omar Perez, who had left with nowhere to go, is going to have to lose not 1 but 2 positions here on lap 2. Also, Leroy WR, thank you for the follow. And Marty, wait, for Marty. Oh my goodness, big send from Jose Guzman onto Potts Weaver into the Dunlop, doesn't get it done, way too deep, takes a nice little chunk there of the carbon fiber of Potts Weaver's front bumper with him. And, well, these three are left scrapping while Scott Sullivan walks away smiling. Down the inside again, Jose Guzman not taking no for an answer. He does take P3 back there from Omar Perez. Omar's struggling early on here. Now, Madman Famardi, I'm curious, what did you play when you were in the band? You say your bandmates gave you that name. What sort of instrument or what sort of band were you in? Now you got to enlighten us. Side by side into the hairpin. That's going to be Pierzchalski, I think, there on the outside. Turns to the inside for the second part of the corner. Under threat from JB Ruzic. Fastest lap there being set by Scott Sullivan. Other times now coming in side by side, though, from Aaron Miller. He finally gaining some ground. Early on the brakes, though, from the McLaren, allows that AMG to get fully alongside, stick with him onto the outside. He's going to have the inside if he keeps it long enough here, and he does. JB Ruzic with a stellar defense. Aaron going to be, well, biting at his chops right now, currently seeing what he can get done. Not able to get anything just yet. They all run, once again, single file through the S's. And Eric also pointing out, it's crazy how fast Potts and Scott have gotten. I was going to make that point earlier, I think, before I interrupted myself. And what are the standings looking like? Not that anyone necessarily cares about the standings, right? Oh my goodness, who is that? That's actually Swinski. Off the track there through the second Degna, struggles to rejoin the track, but does so safely at the very least. Side by side, Carson Cass making a move here onto Joe Khalil. We also have a fight behind from Mike Fisher and Jeff Franks and Rally Dutchy. Side by side they go. There are standings in the rookie though, John Hawley, but like I say, we'll get to him in a moment. Seems anywhere we look, oh my goodness, I thought that was going to end in disaster. Still may. The Aston Martin, though, gets its nose ahead, and the Mad Fox Racing takes a position from the Fisher Porsche, who comes again under threat. But, ooh, a little bit deep there. Causes a bit of a concertina effect. Rocco Luciano, otherwise known as V. What can she get done? Oh my goodness, we're trying to send it 3 wide into 130R. Thankfully, the drivers think otherwise. Jan Rodrix backs out. Oh, Rocco Luciano a little bit early onto the brakes. Thought that we were going to see an AMG down the inside, and we are now as it's deep through the chicane. And wasting no time, Jan Rodrix firmly takes that position. Nicely done. Matt Melanson going to be trying as well. That Porsche had a terrible exit onto the straight. I think this should be fairly cut and dry for Matt Melanson. Although I say that, he is going to go late on the brakes, and it is signed, sealed, and delivered. Rocco Luciano struggling there a little bit for grip. Maybe overdriving the car just slightly. But got to reel that back in. Uh-oh, Paddy Doring with a yellow flag. Stranded there in turn one. Hopefully can rejoin safely. No one really around. Side by side again, Jan Rodrix and Mike Fisher. This is the pack to look at. While these two fight it out, and I just take a look at the standings. Where are the standings? There they are. Aaron Miller leading the championship with JB Ruzic behind. Potts Weaver in third. I think any driver really has a chance here to still win the championship that I just mentioned. Alan Calvello not here tonight. Devin Anthony, is he here? Yeah, he's here tonight. I'm pretty sure we saw Devin Anthony. Did we? No, I actually don't see Devin Anthony on the grid. Had a great result last week too. That's a shame. Jan Rodrix again gets it done there, but for how long before these two decide to battle it out again, like we see in this pack up ahead? And Eric, I have no idea what you're talking about. And we have Famardi was a drummer 20 years ago. Did some reggae mixed with rock elements. Were called Mafia. You still play, but just in different bands. Awesome. That's super cool. I've never been too instrumentally inclined myself, but I do love me some good instrumentals. I love the violin, probably my favorite instrument to listen to. Along with, I mean, who doesn't love a good saxophone? Obviously, I think everyone in the Trackalicious community very familiar with that. But the drums, obviously incredible. My voice is an instrument. Everyone's voice is an instrument. One thing people don't realize. Your voice is most certainly an instrument. It's tunable. You can change the tones, you can change the chords, and do all the stuff that I don't really know anything about music, so. But it is an instrument. Okay, someone had to do it. Of course, it's Carlos.
You're halfway through. Keep pushing.
Also see the chat box there. A little bit out of shape. We'll get that scooched up. There we go. Much better, I think. Potts Weaver battling for P2 still. Carlos Guzman in chat gonna be cheering on his brother, or maybe not. Maybe cheering against him, you never know. Brotherly rivalries and whatnot. Side by side, though, as they head down to 130R. Potts Weaver with the speed and the inside line. There's contact. Jose gets pushed wide. He keeps his foot into the throttle, though, and he carries the momentum. We'll have the inside line onto the entry of the chicane, and he is able to keep ahead for now. Eric with a little bit of a burn there. Fair enough. Here's the move again, and there's contact. A big block there from Jose Guzman, and Potts Weaver goes straight on at the first corner. Stewards may have a look at that one. Well, maybe not, because this isn't a stewarded league, now that I think about it. Very aggressive defense from from Jose Guzman. Was it too aggressive? Well, I'll let you decide. Pot's not going to be too happy with that, though. Was comfortably sitting on the podium, now in P6. Might be biting himself, or, well, kicking himself for that one. As a little bit late onto the brakes cost him. Jose now under threat from Omar Perez. Perez is deep, though. Mason Pierzchalski slides his way in side by side now as they head back down towards the to the Dunlop hairpin. Pierzchalski firmly takes it. There's contact between Perez and Aaron Miller, and both cars are left stranded on the side of the road. Now, what happened here? So we're coming on the exit here of the Degna. Perez with a terrible exit. Oh, whoops. I have completely hit the wrong button. We're going to miss the crash. Great job. Great spectating me. Yeah, there you go. Pay no mind to that. We'll come back from the replay momentarily. You gotta love buttons. Doing it live, folks. Times when I take time off, you know? Fair enough. You misclick the buttons. Omar Perez and Aaron Miller are immediately back at it, though. No love lost. I gotta get locked in the basement again. Yeah, as soon as they let me out. Sharp and Barry, welcome. Thank you. Jake, welcome. Appreciate you joining us here tonight. A hydrate, that's probably well needed. Omar Perez here, still on the chase, but that's going to be a Camaro way deep. That's Will Mentors, actually. Will Mentors into the grass and taking a picnic there momentarily. Comes back onto track. That allows Aaron Miller, though, back up a position with Omar Perez and Christoph Schinke. Easy mistake to make. Especially through the S's. We've seen a couple mistakes there earlier. Christoph Schinke seems confident. All over the back bumper here through the S's. The Alpine, of course, is very light, very nimble, and great in the corners. Oh my goodness. I thought was maybe also going to be off the track there, but keeps it between the mayo and the mustard. Behind them, Jeff Franks. Also coming into it, and joining me here for a little bit, it seems, is going to be Eric the Boss Kakasi. And Eric, welcome.
Hey, Mike, I just couldn't resist. Looks like the action was super exciting, so I had to come and see if I could help you out a little bit with it.
We got some great battles on track here, pretty much everywhere you look. Currently, Potts Weaver actually side by side. As soon as you take your eyes off of it, side by side with Mason Pierzchalski.
Yeah, Mike, I was saying in chat, it's super impressive. I mean, over the last couple of seasons, how fast Potts has gotten, Scott Sullivan as well. These guys, regulars, started off back of the pack, mid-pack, and they've gotten their way all the way to the top. I mean, the progression in this league is just unbelievable.
Scott Sullivan being one of those drivers, yeah, as you mentioned, and one of the drivers that has done it just superbly. Joining, as I mentioned, I think I interrupted myself with some action, but joining 13 months ago, I think, at least that's when he subscribed on Twitch. Around then, he has been nothing but improved, and not only has he improved, but Eric, I think you can talk a little bit more, of course, about first off, the amazing guy, but also what he's done for Trackalicious.
Yeah, so Scott does mod for us. He's a super great guy, and I think if time committed, he would be more involved. And I can tell that he truly does love the racing, so it does put quite a bit of practice. So the improvement hasn't come in without the effort, and it's just lovely to see. You know, it's really important for everybody to know that things don't just magically happen, right? Scott puts in the time. He has a regular training schedule. He does it every week, and you can see the progression through and through all of the weeks, and it's just fantastic to see.
Not to mention, just a great guy. He obviously over on the stream, super chill. Not really a man of many words, but obviously the words that he says quite impactful, and just overall a great guy. Like I said, do check him out, AV6 Scott on Twitch.
Yeah, that's the other side of Scott, is that not only is his driving become just amazing, but he is such a great support to the community. Always willing to lend a hand, always hanging out, answering questions in chat. Just all around awesome guy.
Here we have another development on track between, you guessed it, Aaron Miller and Omar Perez. You pretty much can't separate these two, even if you had a pry bar.
Am I right in thinking that Omar and Aaron have been battling in pretty much every race this season? It sounds like these two names get called pretty frequently.
Let's take a look here. Looking at the championship standings, I mean, I know once again they don't matter too much. Aaron Miller has been pretty dominant, leading the championship. Omar Perez, I think, came in a little bit late. No, he actually came in from the beginning. Has had a couple dodgy results, maybe some collisions, I think, at the beginning when he first joined. Recently has found his footing with a good P8 and P11 finish, but this is looking to be the best finish he's had all season.
Yeah, we always see his name towards the top, but I just don't he's not too familiar for me, being away from the rookie leagues a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you hear about him all the time from stream, does a great job. And I do remember a couple of pit starts, which obviously is a big deal in this league, right? If you wanna win the championship, you have to be clean on lap 1, and that's something that we really try to push for and promote very hard in this championship.
Look at this racing. Potts Weaver and Jose Guzman all over it. That's Mason Pierchalski in that rear view mirror. He is going to be licking his lips. He smells blood in the water currently. Can he do it? Potts Weaver falling off the bumper here of Jose through the S's. AMG is nimble, something I didn't think that I would be saying.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a battle brewing as well. There was Jan Rodrigues, Mike Freund, and Carson Cass. But all gas Cass forgetting to lift his foot from the pedal and goes wide on T1, losing himself 2 spots. Jan winning over that 12th position.
We also have Jake Walls joining us here tonight.
That's a good one. Oh, that's hilarious.
That was an accidental one.
Yeah, it's funny because it's so true.
It was very true last night at Bathurst.
Yeah.
So
sorry,
yeah.
Jake.
Sorry, Jake. I did accidentally say that last night, and it definitely stuck on the dartboard. This is Jeff Franks here, started in the back of the grid, currently in P15. Good improvements here. Speaking of improved drivers, Jeff Franks definitely up there as well. Matt Melanson all over the back, though, and we got to see here, though, Carson Cass, he's struggling. Oh, and the Porsche's deep, allowing Jeff Franks side by side here. It's going to be a little go-kart drag race as we approach the final lap.
Yeah, I wonder how aggressive Matt Melanson is going to go in this final lap. I think he looks like he's got a little bit of a pace on the 2 cars ahead, or just going to let him battle and win over those positions just through, contacts ahead. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Early on to the brakes, there was Carson Cass. Gets a little tap in the back there from Matt Melanson that allows Jeff Franks through onto the, well, I was going to say the lead here, but no, on into P14. Cass falling back here. Is that AMG raw power going to have it? It's a German battle. Goes to the inside here for the coverage. Full gas Cass. Oh, he keeps his foot on the throttle, and it's happened immediately. No, okay, it's not quite happened immediately. It's not Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, but it is very close. There was some contact there. The drivers all managing to keep it pretty clean. Minor damage there, and I think all these Porsches are still showroom ready.
Matt being really cautious. He sees the bumping and banging and is just waiting for the right opportunity to get this Benz through. It hasn't come up for him yet, but he's got to take advantage of this spot.
Mason's
there
loose.
it is. There's the mistake.
Excuse me. Carson is loose there. And as a result, into the wall, and that allows these two, well, to carry on. Actually, Derek Santiago now joining the club. Carson
and Jeff
kicking
Franks
himself.
off. Jeff Franks off.
Oh, no.
And that's a position. That's 2 positions for Matt Melanson, and that is exactly what you want to see from Matt. The patience pays off. Really, really good strategic move from Matt, and he gains both those positions.
That's one of the things that Jeff has to work on is consistency. He's been improving, but the consistency, it's been improving as well, just not quite at the level that it needs to be here. But still, P16, that's a 7-place improvement. Nothing to shake a stick at. Our biggest gainer here tonight is Jan Rodrix, but our race leader here, Scott Sullivan, is going to come to the line here with an 11-second victory over Jose Guzman.
Perez still applying a lot of pressure to Miller here, but just doesn't quite have enough. Miller's going to take that 5th place position.
And Jose also under pressure from Pottsweaver to the very, very end, but not going to happen. Mason Pereshalski slides into the P4 slot. Aaron Miller in 5th, Omar Perez in 6th, Christoph Schinke in 7th, Will Mentors 8th, and JB Ruzic in 9th. Jan Rodrix rounding out our top 10. Don't go anywhere, folks. We have another race coming up here, and it's going to be in that exact order. The starting order will be the finishing order of this race. I have about a 5-minute or so downtime before we head on into it. We'll get back to the booth, though, in the meantime. So welcome back, everybody. As we have it, what a race. Scott Sullivan, dominance, I think is an understatement. But I think he's going to be quite proud, though, Eric.
You got to give it to him. Again, he puts the work in. He's got the consistency. This just doesn't come easily, you know. A lot of newbies that come to this sport, let's call it, right, think that, oh my gosh, you look at this person, he's so unbelievably quick. And there are different tiers of quickness. And Scott Sullivan has definitely put in the work and gotten himself to this upper tier of the rookie series. And I'm sure going to get promoted out of the rookie series, considering his pace has improved so much.
Yeah, quick boy. And obviously started off a rookie no more. We'll see. But
yeah, it's kind of exciting because we have quite a few people that have progressed their SimGrid rating beyond the rookie series. I mean, that's exactly what we want to see, right? These guys come in here, they start as rookies, and they progressively get better and better and better. And soon they have to get kicked out. It's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, you know. It's sad to see them leave, but great to see them progress.
I will say, now that you mention it, taking a look at it, there are quite a few drivers that have been promoted to intermediate from rookie during the season. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, who do you have there, Mike? I'd really love to hear.
It's actually quite a few. Aaron Miller, JB Ruzic, Pottsweaver, Alan Calvello, Jan Rodrix, and Usaban Umbanesk, and Steven Music.
Wow. I'm sure Pottsweaver... Yeah, Pottsweaver and Scott Sullivan are probably on the brink of getting, probably after this race, Sullivan's gonna progress beyond that rookie rating.
Where is Scott at? Scott currently sitting at a 2230 ranking, which, yeah, I think 2300 is that intermediate, so he is right on the fringe for the, of course, SimGrid ranking, which we're talking about here, which is a little bit not quite necessarily representative of skill level, but it's a good benchmarker, obviously. But this GT4 league, Eric, I gotta say, just one of the best out there. It's incredible. You love to see the rookies all battling out on track, and then afterwards you go look at the Discord and see the conversations that everyone has, and the support for each other, and just the fun. I guess that's probably the best part about this.
You know, I was talking to Dave Perel from SimGrid and was telling him how we have this GT4 series, and he was amazed at how full our grid was. Not only because it's GT4s and not everybody necessarily loves it, but also the fact that we're a North American series running GT4s, and we have 2 championships at that. It's just unbelievable. I mean, the community has come together so strong. They are doing exactly what it's meant to do. Help develop drivers, and you see it, you love it. And I will continue to push for this series being a mainstay here at TRACKILICIOUS.
Yeah, I don't see it going anywhere. Thanks to you guys, of course, out there. Thanks to the drivers. Thanks to the chatters. From the bottom of all of our hearts at TRACKILICIOUS, thank you. As we get everything pulled up here and ready to go for the next race. Got about 3.5 minutes before or a little over 3.5 minutes before the qualifying rolls over. So now's the time to go and get some water, get hydrated, maybe go use the little Schumacher's room, whatever you need to do, and then come on back.
Have you heard that story? The one between Rosberg and Schumacher?
Maybe.
I don't know. Rosberg tells the story where he has to go out to qualifying, and this is when Rosberg and Schumacher were teammates at the start of Mercedes coming into F1.
He peed in his seat.
Well, no, Schumacher was in the portable restroom, which is in the pits, right? And he is just sitting in there, and it's right before qualifying, and he's just sitting in there, and Rosberg knocking on the door, not knowing who's in there, thinking it might be a mechanic or whatever it is, saying, "Hey, I need to go. This is really important. I got to go put a lap in," and then basically forces Rosberg to a point where he has to go pee in the corner, and then right before qualifying, unlocks the door, comes out, and just gives him a little smile and strolls to his car. Just the mental games that he played. Unreal.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Of course, Schumi. I'll get well soon, brother. But yeah, absolute legend. Which, of course, I think everyone's got Schumacher. Everyone's got Formula One on the mind as we approach that Formula One season, which is just right around the corner. I myself am extremely excited. I've been jonesing for Formula One action for the past few months. But let's see. Neo Kabuki joining us. I missed the chat. Welcome, Neo. Going to be trying to make a comeback to the GT4 Open next season. You love to see that. Appreciate it. We'll see. But appreciate the attempt at the very least. V got punted on lap 8, but a fun battle. V, you did an amazing battle. We caught a good little glimpse of that. Also, what track is GT2's tomorrow? Let's take a quick little look, shall we? Of course, the calendar. Why don't we head on over to the calendar real quick? Eric, do you want to run us through that?
Yeah, as we, it's gotten crazy here at Trackalicious. We never thought we'd get this many events on the calendar. Monday nights, Rookies in Open Championship, which is what you're watching today. And then we have GT Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. That has become an incredibly fun championship. I've been streaming it just for fun. I was going to partake, but decided to stream it instead. And exciting news, we might have finally convinced Lady Trackalicious to stream that one with us. We had Cody Blanton redeem the Lady Trackalicious stream, so she has to honor it. She did commit to it. I asked her before I put the redemption on there. So tomorrow might be the day, folks. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm super excited. Then beyond that, we have our West Coast Wednesdays GT3 Championship, and that's been growing. Just trying to give some love to our West Coast people, trying to give them a more appropriate time to race, and that's been growing and growing every week. Love to see some great racing there as well. And then we go to our Sunday leagues, which are the Porsche Cup and the GT3 Championship. Incredibly competitive. Those are really fun championships as well. And soon, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have our Brands Hatch, the finale to our GT4 Enduro Championship. So not only do we have one GT4 championship, not two GT4 championships, but we have 3 GT4 championships concurrently running right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of GT4s. We also, of course, we just have a lot of championships, of course, along with the GT3s, P Cup. Of course, Sunday main event is going to be coming down to a close relatively soon. We have 2 more rounds left on our GT3 events. But now, of course, Eric, on to to our server supporters as well.
I can't express the level of appreciation and gratitude for these people, for all of you that allow us to do what we do and allow us to do it for you. We are drivers, you are drivers, we're car people, you're car people, and we're all here to serve the same purpose and just go out there and have some fun. And unfortunately, that fun does take quite a bit of financial commitment. Fortunately, Trackalicious has grown to a point where I can't support it entirely by myself, and these legends of people have come through and have donated their hard-earned money to help keep this place going. Cannot express the level of gratitude and appreciation for these folks. Thank you so much to all of our supporters, our subscribers, our patrons, and to the rest of you who just are here to hang out and make us who we are.
Yeah, anyone that hits that like button just chills around for the lurking. I know we have quite a few lurkers in chat as well. Shout out to Papa Milwy. And of course, any of the other lurkers. You guys are awesome. You make what we do here possible. So thank you. Looking here at the session.
Hasn't Papa Milwy done enough? I mean, he's given us the legendary broadcaster Phil Milwy. So I feel like that's a sufficient contribution to begin with.
Fair enough, fair enough. Let's get on into the session here. The time is underway. We are counting down the moments here. We're gridding as, there's no second qualifying session here tonight. It is just going to be the order of the first. And as we get into it here, starting off in P1, once again, it is going to be the 43 AMG of Scott Sullivan, trying to get a back-to-back here tonight. Jose Guzman and the AMG trying to put a stop to that. Next to them, Potts Weaver on row 2 here, the P3 starter, number 13, McLaren, trying to challenge his way into the victories as well, with Mason Pierchalski looking for his first in P4, the number 10 driver. Aaron Miller, 5th fastest in the number 90, with Omar Perez company in P6, the Mexican driver. Christoph Schinke, 7th quickest in the Alpine. Will Mentors, 8th fastest in the number 20 Camaro, with JB Ruzic in 9th. Rounding out our top 10, it is going to be Jan Rodrix, the 133. Joe Khalil going to be in P11 with Alexandre Zwinski in P12, the Brazilian driver. Mike Freund in P13 with Matt Melanson, 14th quickest, and Derek Santiago in P15. Carson Cass, 16th quickest in the 777 with Jeff Franks company in 17th for the number 73. Rally Dutchy is going to be in P18, the 621 with Kevin Wood in 19th, and that all-gold Aston Martin. Patty Doring in the AI number 808 livery in P20, rounding out our top 20 with Drew Freiberger company in the red hat Janetta in P21. Mike Fisher, 22nd, and last but not least on the grid, it is going to be Rocco Luciano in P14. Cars underway.
So many
here.
new names.
It is. There's a lot of new names. You love to see it. 3.6 miles ahead of them here for this outlap before we get a rolling start back underway. But yeah, new names to the championship, it seems, every single week here in this Rookie League. And if you are interested in signing up for the Rookie League, do head on over to SimGrid, link in chat. The GT4 Rookie League, it's just about over, but trust me, it will be back next season. And Jake Wells also with a Facecam Fiesta. Eric, unfortunately, not able to join me on that one here tonight, but that's okay.
Let's see. I don't know if you have it set up, Mike.
No, it's too late. It's too late.
Actually, I don't have it set up, so it wouldn't have worked anyways, but
it's fine.
But your face is prettier than mine anyway, so.
Sure. You can go with that if you want. But yeah, we will get that rolling here at the beginning. Scott Sullivan already with a flash of the headlights behind from Jose Guzman.
Yeah, fun fact, I had to put a bag on my face to convince my wife to marry me, so. There you have it.
Monitors required to stay intact tonight, so yeah, we'll keep Eric's face in the dungeon? No, that's where my face belongs.
A basement.
Basement, dungeon, whatever you want to call it.
Dungeonous basement.
Mason Pierchalski. I think it'd be I wonder if there's going to be any nerves on the side of Mason here. This is going to be, I think, one of the highest starts that he's had. He's been looking here in terms of the championship with some decent results as last week, P6, P7. Overall, though, let's see. As I try to find him on the championship, Mason here, I think, joined us a little bit late. Where the heck is he?
While you look for that, Mike, Comfort Caster, aka JP Reed, missing this race. Would have loved to see the KTM on here. We miss you on the grid too, JP. That's unfortunate. You gotta get your priorities straight. Sim racing over work all day.
Mason actually did join us at the beginning of this championship. My apologies, but highest finishing position is P5, so he's already topped that here tonight and looking to improve. We got energy being thrown the way of Derek Santiago. See, currently Derek sitting in... Where's Derek? Once again, another... There we go. Sitting in P13, P34 in that So DYC Racing. The drivers now lining up and getting ready for the action ahead of them here tonight. This is race 2. We have our GT4 Open up next, as well as a little bit of Stream Racer on the intermission. That's neither here nor there. Head down for the drivers here. Scott Sullivan on pole position with Jose Guzman company. I'm Mike Nause in the booth, and joined with me tonight at the company is going to be Eric Kakasian. 2x2 Noah's Ark formation. Once again, a bit of a calm before the storm here. We're going to head down to the end of the gridding before we get going. Through the Pirelli board and down to the lights. This is always much longer. Here we go. Green, green, green now. Scott Sullivan off to a pretty lazy start, in fact, getting a very average one. Jose Guzman going to be challenging to the outside, but is he far enough alongside? I do not think so. Potts Weaver, though, trying to capitalize there on the deep run from Jose Guzman. Almost has the tap into the back bumper, manages to keep it clean. Everybody behind, too wide through the first corner and into the S's. Gonna need to settle this relatively quickly, as the S's, they do not allow for too wide for that long of a period. As we see here, Jan Rodricks trying to eke the advantage out from Will Menters, but neither driver is gonna give an inch.
Oh, we had a big mistake from one of the Porsche drivers out back, and it looks like that was Jeff Franks. Stuck. Something's going on with Jeff's car. Had to reset to pits.
Hate to see that early on. Carson Cass trying to make his way through this pack of drivers, but it's a bit of a wall here at this current moment as they approach the first Degna. Will Menters pulling away from Joe Khalil, but Joe being a bottleneck already here for the likes of Zwinski.
What happened to Aaron Miller?
Whoa, what has happened here to
now?
Omar Perez? Omar Perez is stranded in a gravel trap currently. Now, was there contact? Let's go back and check this out. We got a replay here. That's going to be, I think, JB Ruzic on the outside. Oh, Perez gets a little out of shape. I'm not sure if that was just maybe a little bit slower than JB had expected, but stewards will be taking a look at that. And Aaron's wheel is disconnected, apparently.
Oh, that's so tough. But it's hilarious. Even in crashes, we can't seem to separate Omar and Aaron's names. As soon as I said Aaron, you said Omar Perez. It's like, what are the odds?
They're locked forever in whatever you want, in limbo together, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, but we do have a battle up at the front.
In cartrimony.
Sure. Jose Guzman on the charge here towards Scott Sullivan. Finished P2 last time. It's not good enough for him. There was 11 seconds separating them at the checkered flag. Jose wants to change that. He wants 11 seconds in the other direction.
Yeah, and none of these guys have the car advantage, right? So they both running the Merc. Yeah, we hear the Merc's a little bit overpowered. We do have a lot of talks about bops in the background coming through, so we plan on implementing it as soon as we can. Just trying to come up with a good strategy for the future.
Also have a lovely mid-pack scrap here between Alex Zwinski, Alex Zwinski here and Carson under threat, but both of these drivers trying to hold on in a little bit different parts of the track, just a little up the road. But I gotta say, Carson's getting quite the test here tonight for being, I think, his first race with us.
You know, I do want to go down the grid a little bit. Mike Fisher, as you can see, shout out to Mike, a relatively new driver to us. Took a little bit of a break, but has gotten himself out of the P last position, which he was solidly in a couple of... Sorry, Mike.
Let's go back and watch that, everybody. As that is definitely what you would call a commentator's curse, as Mike Fisher has found the back of the grid.
I feel horrible.
I'm not laughing at the crash, Mike, I promise.
This sucks. I hope Mike's not listening to this stream.
He hasn't found the back of the grid yet, to be fair. Omar Perez, though, yeah, there we go. Also a battle between Patty Doring and Aaron Miller.
Give him a run for his money.
He is going to hate you after that.
Yeah, that's that. Yes, no comment. As a commentator, no comment.
Will Mentors gets by Christoph Schinke with ease. The overspeed of that Camaro. I was going to say quickest in a straight line. It's not at all quickest in a straight line, actually. 7th quickest. The AMG is a rocket ship. McLaren, though, actually the fastest in a straight line overall. The AMG the most consistent. Lethal Racing, hello. How's it going? Hope you're having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world, along with everyone joining us here tonight. This is race 2 of 3. Race 2 of 4 if you want to count the stream racer in between. The field is tight. We're seeing some drivers, though, be a little bit more respectful towards each other. There's 15 minutes to go. They don't quite need to rip the heads off each other just yet. Time will, I'm sure, show that as we see Drew Freiberger falling down the field just briefly here. Aaron Miller going to be trying to capitalize here. He has the overspeed into one of the easier overtaking corners, and that is going to be done and dusted. A little bit deep, but keeps it mostly on track. Aaron suffering with a wheel disconnect early in the session, putting him down to P17. He started in P5.
Mike, I'm having some issues with my technology here, hence the silence, but we'll get back here soon.
We have Rocco Luciano with a yellow flag, unfortunately. Puts her at the back of the grid. A little bit of work to do here ahead of Luciano tonight, but still trying to get to that checkered flag. That's the most important part. Matt Melanson. I feel like Matt's a little bit off the pace here tonight. P16. We've seen some fairly good results in the GT3 from Matt. Maybe the GT4 just not quite what Matt's looking for in the car. Or maybe the AMG in particular. I say that, and he's going to be making a very clean overtake here onto Kevin Wood. But I still mean what I said. A little out of position.
Mike, impressive drive from Mason Perchalski. Perchalski only 3/10 behind Weaver, really giving it to him, making him think twice about every corner. Lots of pressure there. Great drive from Mason.
That Porsche not leaving the rear view mirror of Potts Weaver. You can see closing in ever so slightly, pretty much every corner. In fact, lap times are going to be favoring Potts Weaver. However, no, excuse me, they're favoring Mason by a good majority, 5/10 last lap. A little bit deep there through the Dunlop into 200R. Potts is going to be pulling away. Any straight line bits are going to be Potts' advantage. Under braking, that's where the Porsche is going to have its strengths.
Halfway through the field, looks like we got a tight battle between Mike Freund and Carson Cass. These guys, again, only 3/10 separating the two. Gas Cass, a bit too much, going wide into Spoon, giving Freund an opportunity to go side by side. This is where we're going to see which of the cars has the straight line advantage. Looks like both are relatively even. Neither one wanting to give an inch of space. Carson coming out up front. Now giving Santiago an opportunity. All that energy given in chat. Santiago now coming through, trying to find an opportunity to overtake Freund.
You know, you say these cars that they look even in terms of their speed. Well, statistically speaking, those two cars are dead even on speed. Both of them right next to each other in the speed trap at 244 kph.
Highly calibrated eyes, Mike. Highly calibrated eyes.
You'd think the Aston would be quicker, but when you make moves like that, that's not quite going to help you. Picking up some gravel onto the tires and immediately going to come under threat from Derek Santiago. But Derek actually has a little bit to worry about himself.
Yeah, Santiago needing eyes in the front of his head and on the back of his head as Matt Melanson now joining the pack, trying to charge for some positions.
Matt gonna have to wait here through the S's. Again, not the overtaking opportunity you're looking for by any stretch of the imagination. Suzuka, it's tough to overtake at the best of times. These GT4s, I know we had a little bit of discussion earlier from Pranav. Oh my goodness, there's a little bit of a mistake from Carson. In too deep there. Matt Melanson also gonna get by, but Derek Santiago, I think maybe caught off guard there briefly.
That's exactly what you're looking for if you're Matt Melanson. The patience paying off yet again. Great job. That is what we preach to these rookies, is that everybody makes a mistake. You just have to be patient, drive your line, and be ready to optimize when it happens. Great job from Matt Melanson.
Also a great job from Aaron Miller going full send on to Kevin Wood there through Spoon. Carson Cass trying to make up his ground, lost quite a few positions in that little mistake that he made. Also picking up some damage on the side of that Porsche. Is going to be coming back at it with a vengeance.
I think this all-gas Cass is going to start to stick. Carson seeming that he's just carrying a little bit too much speed into these corners. Again, these GT4s got to brake a little bit earlier with the lesser downforce, and I think he's struggling with that a little bit.
Most definitely. Obviously, these cars, downforce, not much of an option in these. As we see, though, once again, doesn't matter where you look, side-by-side action. Aaron Miller, as well as Derek Santiago, heading down to the first corner.
Santiago, a new name. I wonder how long he's been with the league. You know, I try to stay on top of all of these guys and who we have racing and so on and so forth, but it's really difficult. We're growing at such a rapid pace. It's hard to keep track of who's been joining and who's not. But Aaron Miller here really, gets a bit of a bump. That's unfortunate, and it's through the S's. It's really, really tough to recover coming through the S's. That just seems like the S's have a singular, optimal line, and once you get off of it, it pretty much punishes you through the remainder of the corners. But Miller, again, unfortunate having that issue at the start of the race with his wheel disconnect, is now fighting through the entire field all the way up to 13, doing a pretty good job of getting up there. Oh, who's that? And Santiago missing his braking point, going really deep into the wall. Derek Santiago, that's unfortunate. Losing multiple positions.
As I like to say famously, it's his best Sum 41 impression. He is most certainly in too deep on that one. Good change up here for the lead, potentially. I know it's been contested here for a while. Jose Guzman and Scott Sullivan, well, they haven't really changed positions just yet, but Jose Guzman has not let Scott Sullivan breathe whatsoever, and he's been consistently quicker lap after lap. Fastest lap, though, is in the hands of Scott Sullivan, but last lap, we have a, in case you're curious, 7 thousandths of a difference? Yes, a 7 thousandths of a difference. As they rumble through the S's, I don't think we're going to see any changes there for a while, but Aaron Miller back onto Mike Freund in the Aston. Made it look easy there, like he was in a different class. And this is a train of cars I'm not sure I would like to be a part of, especially if I'm Matt Melanson there. You can see him kind of, well, stuck. There's really nowhere for him to go. You can clearly see that he has the pace on the drivers ahead of him, but he just can't get by. I just realized something as well, Eric. Did I do the face cam fiesta at the beginning of the race? I don't think I did.
No, you did not. And with that, Mike, I am going to have to dip with prior obligations. Looks like you got a couple of minutes left in the race, and really excited to be watching the rest of the race through the mobile phone. So hope everybody has fun. I'm going to dip. Hope it's a good race. See you guys.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Thanks,
what
Eric.
to say. See ya.
Much appreciated. Carson Cass will be joining us a little bit later on here tonight. But that's Eric Gakassian, the owner of TRACKILICIOUS. Back to the action here. Kevin Wood gets a tire into the grass. That's not going to help his charge too much. Almost charged right into the back bumper there of Mike Freund. Luckily that Aston very heavy. Good stopping power. We have Omar Perez, which P18 I don't think is the full story of Omar's race. Obviously he started in P6, has absolutely plummeted like a rock. P18 is where he currently lands and trying to battle with a wounded car for P17. It's tough. A fall from grace. Nothing that Omar can't come back from, though, in next week's race, of course. Looking at the first corner again here. That Kevin Wood way too deep into the corner. Picks up marbles onto the tires. That's going to be a good opportunity for Carson Cass behind. He doesn't make anything of it, though. A little bit too far back to really get anything done. Omar Perez gets the job completed onto Derek Santiago. And Kevin Wood left on his own here with Alex Zawinski battling for P9. Joe Khalil as well. The Brazilian trying to get into the single-digit positions. The Alpine. Another car that maybe not quite as strong as it used to be. Thankfully, some might say. Me included. I will get that also. Here we are. Facecam Fiesta. Apologies, John Hawley. I missed it earlier, but we get her. We get them done. 2.5 minutes left to go. We'll be catching the checkered flag, I think. I could have waited maybe a little bit longer. I think it's only 2.5 minutes. Anyways, Andre Zawinski. No, Alexander Zawinski. Drew Freiberger from behind here. That's going to be Derek Santiago struggling with his wounded Porsche. That is not quite a showroom ready Porsche. He's going to make a look, though, to the inside, but he just doesn't have the aerodynamic potential really to get the car stopped in a reasonable manner, even with that mistake there from Drew Freiberger. Carson Cass deep through 130R. Got to be careful. That's going to be picking up a warning. Pick up 4 of those and you'll have a drive-through penalty. But looking up at the front, things are heating up here as we approach the last lap. We're going to have, this is the penultimate lap. Next lap will be the white flag. And we have Jose Guzman and Scott Sullivan here. Flash of the headlights as Jose tries to get into the head of his opponent. Scott, unfazed. I think at one point in time that might have gotten the better of him, but He needs to hold on here. One more lap. If Scott can hold on, if he can sustain this pressure, this is a new Scott Sullivan that we're seeing. Jose Guzman obviously is no slouch behind the wheel, a very experienced driver and longtime sim racer. Jose running out of chances. The first corner is going to be his best opportunity as he gets to flash his headlights any opportunity that he can, trying to get into the head. Later onto the brakes there, into Spoon, but that results in a wide wash. Very good line, actually. Going to carry the speed here towards 130R. This might catch Scott Sullivan off guard. He's going to have the slipstream. He's going to have the exit. Scott tries to go defensive here, parks it in the center of the road, and I think that might force Jose to lift. The inside line, though, is fully committed here from the number 129, but Scott Sullivan keeps it ahead for now. Oh, the checkered flag. He wishes it would fall this lap. Jose, I think he might have it, honestly. I think Scott Sullivan, he's starting to feel it. Running wide again. He might have picked up a track limit warning. Need to be careful on that. Jose's a bit too far behind, though, as it stands. First corner, your best opportunity. The leaders are on the final lap. White flag in the air here for the second race tonight of the GT4 Rookie Championship. That's not the line that Jose is looking for. Is he overdriving that car? Scott just needs to keep it between the mayo and the mustard. At this stage, that's all he has to do. The pressure mounting, though. I sit here on the edge of my seat, waiting for any mistake from either driver. Jose is just hoping at this point that Scott makes some form of error. But I think that might be a pipe dream. Scott Sullivan hasn't put a wheel wrong this entire time. Just taking a look here as well at the championship, Scott Sullivan has had nothing but he's at a P4 actually, I take that back. He's had a ton of P7s though. Is he going to turn that P7 into a P1? P4 being his best result. He took a race win here tonight, but can he get the back-to-back? This is going to be the corner to decide it. Jose Guzman needs an exit of a lifetime. Tucks the car in. Great rotation from Jose Guzman. Scott taking a very conservative line. And I think that may be it. Scott, one more braking zone to do it here. Through 130R. He's deep. He's deep, needs to be careful he doesn't pick up a drive-through penalty. Jose's also deep through there. They're both pushing to the absolute max. Jose has pushed Scott in the back bumper into the braking zone, but thankfully, Jose Guzman, the nice guy that he is, he sees that it was his mistake, gives the position back to Scott Sullivan, and Scott Sullivan takes the win here, a back-to-back for the Monday Rookie Championship. Jose Guzman in P2, a great sport. Really showing the sport, once again, the sportsmanship between these two drivers, but also just the championship in general. Jose not wanting to take it off of merit. Pottsweaver with a valiant attempt and a lovely podium on top of that. Mason Pierzchalski gonna be a bit disappointed, but definitely should not be. What a race. Mason gonna be up on the podium soon enough. I think everyone can see that. JB Ruzik in P6 with Jan Rodrigues in P7. No, excuse me, Jan Rodrigues in P5. Will Mentor 7th fast, or P7 at the end. Christoph Schinke in 8th. Joe Khalil in 9th. And Alexander Zwinski rounds out our top 10 here. Aaron Miller just missing the mark there into P11 with Matt Melanson in 12th. Mike Freund in 13th. Kevin Wood in 14th. Carson Cass 15th quickest as he comes to the line here for his first race at TRACKILICIOUS. Omar Perez 16th. Derek Santiago in P17. Drew Freiberger 18th. Riley Dutchie in 19th, Patty Dorian 20th, Rocco Luciano 21st, and Mike Fisher last but not least. And Mike, you can thank Eric for that one. But what a race as we try to wrangle up our post-race finishers, or our top 3 here. Let's see, is there anyone in the top 3 in the Discord? Nope. Why would there be? It's too easy if there was. Too easy. Let's head back to the booth, though. Welcome back, everybody. As we wait to see if anyone is going to pop into the green room, looking for AV6 Scott Sullivan, Jose Guzman, and Potts Weaver. If you guys are listening, do head on into the green room so we can get some interviews. We also will have Carson Cass joining us here tonight. Let's see, where is he? He was here. Where'd he go? As we're doing some wrangling, folks. Just hold tight. As we have it, though, we do have, it looks like, AV6 Scott going to be starting us off with our interviews. Our race winner here tonight. We also have Leroy joining us in chat. Is there any Asia races that I can join as a beginner? Unfortunately, we're a North American championship. You can always try to join our championships, though it's open to absolutely everybody, but obviously be aware of your ping and be careful out there. But you're more than welcome to join the GT4 rookies as well as any of our championships here at TRACKILICIOUS. We have some UAE drivers that have joined us in the past, so it's not, like I say, not too much of an issue. Let's get on into it here, though, as we have Carson Cass joining us tonight. Carson with a didgeridoo in the background there momentarily.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot that I have that on. But, yeah, I mean, that was a race. I newer to ACC, so I was pretty proud of my pace. I had a lot of pace in that car that I was not expecting to have, so 15th is honestly amazing for me from my perspective. But, you know, I lost the car a lot. I was running a way looser setup than I was used to. As just general, I'm a more GT3 hypercar kind of guy. So GT4 has been something new, but I've really been enjoying it. And honestly, I had such a loose setup that there's sometimes where I was taking a turn and I felt like I was just in a NASCAR car. Like it was just...
We saw that, I think, at the end of race 1 where you were in those heated battles. But I gotta say, Carson, it's gotta feel pretty good. You had your fair share of fights here tonight. Like you say, P15 finish, but for your first race at TRACKILICIOUS, getting to know the field must feel pretty good.
Yeah, I definitely was faster than I expected here. This is really tough competition, and I did not expect anything but last. And I was up in P8 for a little while, and then those kind of mistakes that I was just kind of forcing myself into with not being familiar, not spending enough time, maybe not enough practice, just sort of got me to the end. And credit to Friend, I think it was, and that Aston Martin. For that second race, we were fighting for about 13 minutes before I just overshot a corner. But yeah, really good race.
And Jose in chat. Jose, if you want to hop on into the green room, please do. We have Scott Sullivan who's in there. And we're going to pull Scott Sullivan down here. Scott, the race winner, not just a race winner, a back-to-back race winner here tonight. How are you feeling after that?
I'm feeling great. That was... Race 1 was kind of okay. It was almost an extra practice. I got kind of out ahead and was just able to run laps. But race 2, man, Guzman was hounded me the entire time, and it was an amazing battle. It was just absolute blast both races, really. This track has just connected with me over the last week and a half.
I was wondering...
I think it's all after the beating Ali Raza, you know?
Letting it get to your head there a little bit, but...
Yeah, no, it just really, it clicked, this race.
That's awesome. No, I gotta say, I thought you were gonna lose it at some point there. You looked like the car started struggling at the end, but you managed to keep it between the mayo and the mustard throughout the entirety of the session, and didn't really put a foot wrong.
It really did. The tires, I could really feel them letting go that last lap. Like as soon as we got into the S's, I'm like, oh, these tires are not. I can't do one more lap after this.
Jose was all over you at the end, but you held it off. And I gotta say, Scott, is there anyone you'd like to thank before we move on?
I gotta, thank my community as always. They've been huge support throughout the year. Also to the TRACKILICIOUS community, just an amazing group of people. All the work that's put in behind the scenes, and all our amazing drivers. I'm sure y'all tuned in through the chat like over the last week. The rookie chat has just been hopping and alive this last week. Still getting people talking and practicing. It's been amazing.
Yeah, so if you guys do want to get a part of that action, do head on over to the TRACKILICIOUS Discord and sign up for not just our championships, just the Discord. As you're saying, Scott, you're not to mention one of those members that's super active in the chat that keeps everybody, always spreading information. Just overall, Scott, I got to say, you've been nothing but a benefit to this community and have improved so much over this past year.
Well, thank you. I just got to share what I learned, and maybe somebody else can learn something from it.
I think that they definitely have. And Scott Sullivan, P1 2 times here tonight. We're going to be moving on to Jose Guzman, but I got to say, man, congratulations.
Thank you, and you'll have a good night. See you in the Open Series.
Indeed. As we move on here, we are going to be grabbing Jose Guzman, number 95, finishing off P2. It was a battle and a half. It was a war, I should say. But he kept you honest, wasn't able to get it. Still a great race.
Oh, it was a great race. It was fun. He ran away with it race 1, so, I had to give him a little pressure at least.
I'd say you did a little bit more than a little that time. That was, I think he was feeling it towards the end. You could see him slipping and sliding every which way. You were flashing the headlights pretty much every single corner, trying to get those mental games through, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it didn't work, sadly. I asked if it got to him. He said he tuned it out, so kind of tragic. But, I was able to get close to him. The start of the race was kind of sloppy for me, but I was able to reel in the pace and then get right back in, right behind him. But I couldn't make anything work. I tried very hard to do it. I had a couple runs, but the corners were just too short. And then the final straight, he was getting a better exit on the final turn, so I had no chance there.
It was close, but you almost had him into 130R the previous lap. I think the penultimate lap there. That was, I think you saw it. You saw the moment, but you backed out smartly.
He was a little more brave than I was. I thought about sending it a little harder, but I was like, maybe not.
It was probably a smart move. Obviously you had that contact in the final chicane on the final lap, but great sport from yourself there. Let him by. Honestly, it was hard to tell if there was anyone at fault.
Well-deserved win. I don't know. I think I just had more speed than him into it because I think he went a little defensive. So I think he braked at his normal point. So I think he just slowed down more than he expected, and then I expected him to slow down.
Yeah, it happens. It's a little bit of you may call it a racing incident, but I got to say the sportsmanship that you showed there, that was second to none. So congrats on that. Now, before we move on, is there anyone that you would like to thank, Jose?
Everybody. And you know what? I think I did such a good job this race. Race 2, that Eric, I think, is going to join us for another enduro race with the Crazy Rabbits.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. You heard it here, folks. He, of course, joined you guys for the Bathurst race and did quite a good job.
Every second of it. If he tells you any different, he's lying.
I sense some slight, maybe not truths in regards to that. But no, thank you. Jose Guzman again, not race winner here tonight. P2 finish, but super close. Congratulations. Have a great rest of your night, Jose.
Delicious. You guys are amazing.
Thank you. That was Jose Guzman, everybody. We are going to be heading on towards the next session. I see we're into the qualifying. Now, I promised Stream Racer, so I kind of have to do it, don't I? So we'll do it. We'll do the Stream Racer. Let's find a nice little short track here, and we'll get on into this. We got plenty of time in terms of the Open Series. They have a long qualifying ahead of them, 18 minutes. There are going to be times being set. Exclamation mark race, if you guys are interested. Let's get on in towards that session here in a moment as I click a million buttons and head down to the scene. Black screen of anticipation, and there we are. Exclamation mark race, if you guys are interested. Now, what is Stream Racer? Well, it's going to be a race where you guys are racing each other. All you have to do is type exclamation mark race, and you are entered in this challenge. And you can type exclamation mark boost while in the race to go a little bit quicker in a straight line. And when I say a little bit, I mean a bit of a rocket ship. I'll get involved in this as well. I think I got a P2 last time, so we're trying to come back here for another podium finish. But it's been a while. Exclamation mark race to get on involved. Carson, we got to get you involved in this as well.
I've just returned. I have no idea what this is. This seems This seems awesome. I gotta say.
It is quite fun. This is going to be a little bit of AI racing, where if you type !race, you'll be entered as an AI. So and you'll be able to control it, like I said, with the ! boost, but that's it. No other controls.
Yeah, we'll see if he can stay on track.
That is always a challenge. We got 6 drivers. We got 1 minute ahead of us, so type ! race for anybody interested. Get on in here, folks. The more drivers, the merrier. It's super fun. Literally, all you need is a Twitch account. That's it. You don't need to do anything fancy. No signups or anything. Low turnout for this race so far. Provolone, get your butt in here. ! race. Wet Socks as well joining us. We have V. There's Kali. Kali. Yep, that's Kali joining us. Great couple of races. That was a great couple of races. Putting on the show. Battles throughout every which way. Beachley joining us.
That was definitely one of the most fun races I've taken part of, and I've been in a few leagues just with other games and other people. It's just, I don't know. This one was like, I just was fighting so hard for every position, and then I would kind of botch it, but I mean, it takes time, and I'm very happy with how I did. So, here we go.
Here we go. It was very clean as well, I gotta say. Let's see if this race is as clean as we get underway. Doc Milwee off to a solid start into the jump. Xander Zone coming up quick, but oh my goodness. Okay. Carson's gone, everybody. Yeah, ! boost if you were curious. It'll have a nice little speed boost. Carson finding that one out the hard way. Through the arena sector, some battering and banging. Doc Milwee has gotten stuck on nothing. He high-centered himself on the road, I think that was. Xander Zone coming up in P2 right now. Got that beginner's luck. Oh, as they all avoid the Bullard there somehow. Going now down the straight, we see Kali side by side momentarily. This could not be tighter racing at the front here. Big boost from Xander Zone into the arena, and he just about goes into the crowd. Kali comes by, a little bit of damage picked up on Xander Zone. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. There's no damage in this game, in case you were curious. Oh, the Bullard gets into the way of the barrier. Xander Zone takes the lead of this race once again as Kali... Oh, Wet Socks has a full-on faceplant into the wall as well. Struggling here is a bit of an understatement. Xander Zone able to come on down the grandstand section, we're going to call this here, with Kali Official and Doc Milwee all in tow. Battling for that podium. Xander loses it on a drain cover. Oh, no.
Las Vegas Strip.
Takes the lead. I was more going for Bahrain, but...
Yeah, close enough.
Of course, the drain covers are an incident on, turns out, permanent circuits as well.
That is a very interesting thing. I don't know how we don't check that like routinely every year. It feels like that'd be like a weekly... Oh my gosh. Kelly
nice
Official,
Eric.
Absolutely. Sent that.
This is a battle to the line, though, as we see it. Kali Official is going to have a drag race with Doc Milwee, but he gets caught up on the grass. But now rejoining the track. Oh, I'm going to swoop in here. Am I going to get the win of this race? Yes, I am. Let's go. Kali comes in second, Wet Socks in third, Doc Milwee in fourth. Chat going to be screaming rigged at this point, which, you know, fair enough. Xander Zone coming up next. Carson and Beachley to the end, but Carson's going to take it as he is on the circuit. V comes in 8th, and Beachley comes in last.
A lot of aerodynamics from you in that last part. I definitely think that car had the most straight line speed. Your V, I guess, 14 engine in that with how fast you were going.
Just built different. What can I say? Do we need the shoey? We need the shoey now, don't we? God dang it. All right, one sec, chat. One sec. All right, hold tight.
All right, guys. So I'm the one left to entertain you. I'm gonna need a little bit of a discussion going. How do we feel? Like, what is everyone's favorite topping on pizza? And then what's your opinion on pineapple pizza? Because I love pineapple pizza.
Yo, pineapple pizza slaps though.
I've been saying that for years, man.
It's
pineapple
my
pizza.
You're gonna get some people that definitely disagree with you, but we have the shoey here, so let's head back to the booth. It's the unofficial, the Steven Tomazic shoey. Race win, everybody. Let's go. You're only as good as your last race. Get out of here.
Ooh, I feel like Rocco definitely won. Stuffed crust pepperoni pizza tonight. I don't know if that can beat a win in a league race because that is delicious.
Stuffed crust pepperoni. I gotta say, stuffed crust is it needs to be good. You need a good stuffed crust pizza, but it is definitely the superior brand superior style when done right. Also, Burrito, thank you for the follow, much appreciated. I think I missed that one. You're paid to take a dive, handsome. And yeah, Beach Day with a bit of an embarrassing performance. Wayne. Look, I'm not dumping. Look. I'm not gonna defend myself because while you're right, you're also wrong. So, what can I say? Appreciate the chat though. Welcome, Wayne. But yes, that was not quite the ideal shoey. But you know, hey. We make do here. It's the Steven Tomazic shoey.
Yeah, you got the nice shirt on. Don't want to spill that all over said nice shirt.
There. Oh, well, let's get on in. We need to get on into the session here. We have drivers that are setting lap times. Quali session's about halfway underway. Let's get on into it here. We're at Suzuka for the GT4 Open, qualifying currently under. We got 45 minutes ahead of us on the clock for the race. Let's get in the session. Black screen of anticipation, and there we go.
Ooh, we have a nighttime qualifying. Is the race going to take place at nighttime?
I will find out.
I sure hope so. I love me some nighttime racing. Those auxiliary lights, I think, are the #1 thing. I just love them so much. I don't know. You see the extra lights on the car. It's like when you're driving by you, those purple flashes with like the green car. They're always so weird to me. I never understand why like a bright green car would have like a red auxiliary light, but eh.
Also, V, recently discovered your favorite year of car, 1986. Why because they're just all the cars are bangers? All right, fair enough. Can you give me a couple examples of some 1986 bangers? It was a TOS shoey. a TOS shoey. Oh, okay, TOS. Yeah, you know, I'm sure it's all good, but... And thank you, Wade, much appreciated. As we have a night qualifying.
Camaro was nice.
Let's get a little brightness up in here. It's a little dark. There we go. Look at that, chat. We can see again.
Looks like we will be having a daytime race with no rain, hopefully. Last night we had a bit of a monsoon at Mount Panorama.
You nailed it.
I did nail it. I had the thought. Kind of just absolutely nothing but sopping wet, but it'll be interesting to see Suzuka not wet because I don't know if Suzuka wet. I could have handled that today. That would have been disastrous for me, I'm not going to lie to you.
And V with a very great start to that, I gotta say. The A86 Toyota Celica. I'm a Toyota fanboy myself. And BMWs and the 86 911. I gotta say, they also made 86 Pontiac Fiero. Get out of here. Noodles. I'm assuming you're not saying that seriously, but you very well might be.
There's a really nice Firebird, I think, from that year. I think that's the one with the Firebird on the hood. So Pontiac win, but I almost actually bought a Pontiac Fiero.
Now, hold on. What year was this car made? Oh, never mind. Okay, it was 70. Then never mind. Then we won't bring it up. That's fine. But as we have it, our qualifying session currently is, well, far underway, to be honest. We have half of it has passed us. And currently, our pole sitter is Potts Weaver. Potts Weaver with a 2:11.6, 3 thousandths separating Scott Sullivan and Potts. They had a bout in the rookie session. Now in the rookie open section, I still Wasn't sure. Didn't know we were doing red plates again, but, you know, all good. Potts, Weaver, Scott Sullivan at each other's throats early on. Ollie Raza, though, I suggest is going to, we'll separate that time. Well, it won't separate those two, but it's going to put a new benchmarker here onto the board. One Bigley with a hydrate. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Raza had a stellar race last night, and Mount Panorama had a pretty decent run. Just kind of couldn't get past. I forget who won that race, but just couldn't get past him. I know he just had immense pace in that McLaren Evo GT3.
Yeah, Ollie, a rapid boy. That is an understatement. Obviously, also one of our admins over at TRACKILICIOUS. Great guy. And let's see, what does he have for us here tonight as he comes around the final corner now, gets onto the throttle, and it's going to be a long acceleration down to the line here. This first line is not the actual line. Going to be as you cross that Pirelli board. And it's going to be an easy pole position for Ollie Raza. Over a 1.5 seconds difference to him and Potts Weaver. That is what we expected here from Ollie early on. Oh, Justin Beachley with a maybe less than calculated slip angle into the first corner. Gonna have to try that lap again. Invalidates. John Hawley in the BBC Planeter 3.
It's a beautiful Camaro, but yeah, obviously you tend to run more loose setups. I always do in qualifying to try and find those faster times with more control over the car, but obviously things like that can happen. And especially when you're going into T1 at Suzuka, it is absolutely crucial you get that perfect, or that car is not going to be where you want it and will fly off the track.
Yeah, absolutely. As you may have found victim, or you fell victim to that exact scenario in the end of the second race, but
it was actually
neither here nor
really
there.
Incredible, yeah. I managed to find that out more than once, which, you know, typically you learn your lesson, but I guess fourth, fifth time was the charm for me there.
It happens. Let's go on board here. John Hawley in that Camaro. The V8 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I am not mistaken. A little bit deep. A bit of a correction onto the wheel. Had to get off the throttle mid-corner there and back onto it. This is going to be a bit of a lazy lap from John Hawley. Currently a 10th down. Still room for improvement, surprisingly, but not the lap that he's looking for to set the time alight. Whoa. Camaro downshift always worries me ever since I've seen Dan Brace, Dan blew up the Aston Martin. What am I talking about? Devin Anthony obviously blowing up the Camaro. That was a sound that you heard from the Camaro when it did that.
Yeah, Camaros detonating are not a very common thing, but they are a very scary thing when it does happen, because that car is very loud.
Of course, this car louder than its, I think, probably street counterpart, well, more than likely, is 6.2 naturally aspirated V8. The reason they had to use that engine is because, well, superchargers are banned in the GT World Series, so can't really get away with that. Got to make that a big old naturally aspirated American V8.
Yeah, Chevy's definitely one of those manufacturers that's tapped more into this kind of racing, and I really would like to see more American manufacturers tap into GT3, GT2, and GT4 racing. It's all that kind of stuff. It just makes so many good cars. I'm surprised specifically Cadillac hasn't really had an entry recently.
Cadillac's dominating in the Le Mans series.
Are they
if I'm not mistaken?
The GT car?
With a LMP car, but
yeah, I know that. I more meant like GT because
sure,
Cadillac is such a strong manufacturer. I feel like they could pump out a car that wins races.
Yeah, of course, the Cadillac in the LMP series, that car is a beast. I think that's a 5.6 naturally, or 6.6 naturally. Oh my, Casey shooting into the wall. That's not the way to end your qualifying, but yeah, 6.6 liter naturally aspirated V8 or something along those lines. Of course, has that hybrid engine as well. That thing is a rocket ship.
It absolutely is. I got to see it in person to Daytona 24 Hours. It sounds just as good as in person as you do see in videos. I can definitely attest to that, and I definitely think they would have won, but just so many mechanical issues, and that's going to happen in a 24-hour race, especially with IMSA having that as the first race of the season, which I've always found very, very interesting.
Is Glickenhaus, are they still running the Cadillac?
I believe they're in their own car now that they
Okay.
made.
That's right, you're right, of course. Oof, Mason Pierzhelski loses it in the chicane. An uncharacteristic mistake, and the time is seemingly not quite there. Mason seemed fairly well practiced in the previous session, but struggling here in the open, at least to get started. John Hawley, not happy with your performance. P6, nothing to shake a stick at. Not ideal. Behind the likes of Scott Sullivan, I'm sure you'd like to be a little bit more up there. Also, Justin Beachley, currently 10 thousandths off the time there of Scott Sullivan.
Yeah, these McLaren GT4 cars, just like the GT3 cars, have been very, very fast, but obviously the car of choice for Suzuka is the AMG, as we saw in that rookie class. I think every single AMG was starting in the top 8, or there was like 1 or 2 outside of it, but if I'm not mistaken, the top 8 was 7 AMGs and then 1 McLaren.
Something like that. I think it was top 5, I think, was all AMGs, yeah, but it would minus the McLaren of Potts Weaver that kind of separated the field, Potts being that differing factor tonight. Well, I was going to say in this current race, as it's all tonight. Not quite the same. We're seeing Ollie Raza in the AMG. I don't think it really doesn't really matter what car Ollie is driving. Pole position is what he would have found regardless, with a 1.5 second difference between the rest of the field. We're not seeing too much competition here tonight for Ollie. I think we're going to see him walk away. I hope not, but I don't see anybody that could necessarily handle the smoke from Ollie Raza. It's just to be completely frank, as much as, like I say, it's harsh, but he's pretty quick.
Yeah, from what I've learned, Ollie is a absolutely incredibly talented driver on and off the track. On the track as well, like in real life too, I believe, from what I understand. But he's definitely been rapid from the single race I've seen, and definitely looking through standings, he's up there most of the time, if not all the time.
As John Hawley pointing out, we need JP Reed back. Yeah, JP Reed was really putting it to him for a while. Obviously, Emirates as well was a nice competitor to have in there. Lost a few of those drivers, or not here tonight, I should say. So hopefully we see some more competition. If you are a fast boy and looking to compete, do head on over to our SimGrid, sign up for the Open Series. It is available to our patrons and server supporters. Message Eric Gakasian for more information on that. I will say, though, this league being closed down to the server supporters has been one of the cleanest leagues that we have. So, very exciting to see. I think we took a vote at the end of last season if they wanted this league to be paid or not. Everybody voted for, not everyone, most people voted for it to be that way. So, a bit of exclusivity and the, well, cleanliness it shows. Okay. This is why you practice your pit entry, everybody. Alex Freeman getting his pit entry practice in.
It was very worrying, but almost lost it. But yeah, I think definitely having a paid league makes it a much more serious kind of, everybody wants to win and is paying to be in the race. So obviously they're going to give it their all and try and not ruin their own race or something along those lines, or ruin other people's races, because it is a it's not a $12 fee. You just have to support the server. I am paying $12 to the Patreon because I love TRACKILICIOUS.
Big shout out.
I could get a shirt that said that.
Yo, I wish I could get a shirt that says that too. Eric, you listen? Carson's got some good ideas here. As we have it, though.
TRACKILICIOUS merch.
You're telling me, but calm down on that. Eventually. Let's get in here and let's meet our drivers for tonight. As we have it here, starting off in P1, it is going to be the number 30, the Canadian driver, that is Ollie Raza. Lined up here in P2, the number 18 AMG is going to be Justin Beachley in the Beach GT. George Elmer bringing up third position in the number 22 Simnut Racing. Potts Weaver going to be company in P4. Scott Sullivan looking to bring another win here, at least in class tonight, for the number 43 AMG Petronas in P5. John Hawley going to be lined up in 6th. Aaron Miller, 7th quickest in that number 90 Viper Racing with Reggie King Company in P8 in that Wonka RKR 111. Casey Schutte going to be in P9 in the 444. Alex Freeman going to be 10th fastest in the number 14 AF Sport, rounding out our top 10 with Jan Rodricks in P11. Vomole Yaye in P12 with Mason Pierzhalski in 13th. Jason Provolone, 14th fastest in the It Ain't Easy Being Cheesy Audi, and no, it most certainly is not, with Professor Chronotis in the T-Swizzle 2022, number 42. Jacob Church in the Coach Dave Academy, number 253, going to be lined up in P16. Awesome livery there, representing that Coach Dave Delta. Tanner Masters, going to be 17th in the Code 3 Motorsports, from number 72. Last but not least on the grid, it is going to be the Mad Fox Racing of Rally Dutchy, the 621 McLaren. The grid is set here tonight. Clock still counting down. We have 18 drivers on the field here for the, I think, penultimate race of the Open, if not the third to last race of the Open. And I'm also a raid. Oh my goodness. We have a raid from Sunset Racing League. Welcome, everybody. I hope everyone's had a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world, joining at a perfect time. If you'd like to see a livery again, a delivery... Okay, we can take a look at Chrono's livery on the outlap. That's not a problem. But yes, welcome, everybody. We're here for the race 3 of tonight. This is the GT4 Open Series, 45 minutes on the clock, 1 mandatory pit stop, fixed 25-second time, 5 additional seconds if the drivers would like tires. And we are underway. Hope we have a different winner for championship reasons. Take a look. That's one thing I actually haven't looked at here, is the championship for tonight, but I would imagine Ali Raza is going to be close to the front. I know he has had some pretty decent results, not quite landing every single race win, but looking at the standings, Reggie King leading in the AMs with Aaron Miller and Jan Rodricks behind, and looking at the Pro, it is Ollie Raza, JP Reed, and Dan Super Rev Brace. Dan Brace not here tonight, along with JP Reed or Quinn Smith. Quinn Smith also not showing up. So John Hawley, the next competitor in the championship. As we have it, though.
Got it to work, finally.
Yeah, finally, there we go. Love it.
Thing.
Okay.
Obviously I can't redeem it, but can we just take a look at that number, that Chevy 410? Because that is a car, man. Is that a sea turtle on the hood?
Yes. So we'll take a look at both of the cars here on the outlap. We have a request for the T-Swizzle 2022. So we'll take a look at the T-Swizzle 2022. This car from Professor Chronotis hasn't been updated in a while, obviously, the 2022 version. So I've been trying to get on Chronotis to update it. But it is an absolute banger of a livery. I think that is one of the fan favorites, of course.
I think I really like that one. I'm a Chiefs fan at heart, so I mean, obviously I can't dislike that one even if I actually did. But honestly, beautiful livery, a lot of creativity, and we express ourselves in different ways here, and that's absolutely one way to do it. And I don't know how scared I'd be if Taylor Swift was overtaking me, but definitely a fear factor there in my rearview mirror.
We also, of course, have the Team Grilled Cheese of Vomolek Yaye, who, well, the reason behind this livery, of course, I think this was made by Usaban Mbanesk, the original creator. Well, the reason they created that was because he likes grilled cheeses. So, you also love to see that. But taking a look at the 410, the BBC Planet Earth here from David Attenborough. So you see the lovely grasshopper being consumed by the bluebird as the lion licks the top of the car. All right, there's my David Attenborough impression for everybody. I hope you cringed a little bit.
You're not getting one of those out of me. I admire your bravery there. I don't even know where to start, David Attenborough. I think I need to watch a little more, but you know, again, expression absolutely beautiful. But as we get into this 2-lane situation now, kind of interesting. just in kind of how all these cars are placed, there's a lot of different types of drivers here, and even in the paid league. But I definitely think, just based on championship standings where people have been finishing and this being a difficult track, I just think we're going to see a very compact race towards the middle field and the front field. Hopefully, obviously, Roslick doesn't just run away with it, and Beachley, Elmer, and Weaver can find a way to challenge, but I will find that out very, very soon.
Yes, we will. Just got to make sure. I'm pretty sure I already set this, but you never know. It looks like we did. Welcome everybody again. Welcome Raiders. Hope everyone is ready for tonight. This is going to be race 3, round 6 of the GT4 Open Championship here at Suzuka. Ali Raza on pole position, Justin Beachley alongside him in the first row. I'm Mike Nause in the booth. Joined with me tonight is Carson Cass. As we approach the line here, 45 minutes on the clock. Going to be approached the second board, of course. Calm before the storm.
He's got a big lead already. If he can get this jump, hopefully it won't be lights out, but he's definitely going to get a chance here as they go under green now. Green now. Heading down to the first corner. Ali Raza is gone, as you had mentioned. George Elmer going to be immediately putting the pressure, getting under pressure from Justin Beachley, who had a very lackluster start. That inside lane, getting the advantage very handedly at the beginning. George Elmer happy to take P2. Behind that, we are 2x2 formation pretty much throughout the entire grid. It's going to be a bit of settling here as the drivers have to go nip and tuck into the S's. Otherwise, we're going to see some contact. Yeah, obviously, very tough situation there to go double in. You see a bump there back in the scrap metal. Just a lot of bumping and shoving in through that turn on the other side, and Raza is getting a big lead. But on the other side, Freeman now going to try and make a run as the Team Grilled Cheese car behind him, I think, has a bit more pace.
Oh, man, I think we have a disconnect there from the mullet. No, we're good. Everything's good. Just a bit of a shakeup in the timing table as it glitches out just slightly. John Hawley on the charge here, remaining in P4. Potts Weaver behind in 6th, under pressure from Reggie King. See some shakeups behind, and there's a yellow flag. Casey Schutte and Alex Freeman seem to have been collected in a collision here. Let's see what resulted in that, and unfortunately an immediate RTG. So this is Casey on the outside there, down the inside, and I think Casey, unfortunately, when he watches that replay, collects a lot of drivers. Big concertina effect there. Gotta say, I think Casey turned in a little bit early on that one. Obviously, that'll be down to the stewards to review. Casey, being a steward, he will not review his own incident.
It is a lap one rather, just fiesta. It's how it goes. You make a tiny little mistake, and then 4 people run into you, and you gotta go back to garage, because that second hit from, I believe, Freeman that was major damage for how fast he was going.
I just want to say as well, Head on a Swivel, thank you for the follow. And once again, welcome to all the Raiders I have not mentioned. Truckin' Neon, welcome to Stephalopoulos. Oh my goodness. You guys have some very, very nice names to pronounce. Thank you. Mecco Simracing, welcome. And of course, Sunset Racing League, I hope you had a great stream as well. Scott Sullivan falling down a little bit here at the start and immediately coming under pressure from the fellow red plate, Reggie King.
And Reggie King, same situation there. They're going to try and get it through. I want to talk a little bit about this track, obviously. It's very well known at Suzuka. A lot of series race here. It's a 3.6 mile track, 5.8 kilometers if you're from the other side of the world. Located in, believe it or not, Suzuka, Japan. It has been unchanged from 1983, and that's because I think this track is one of the most perfect tracks in the world, and you're going to see that through the S's here towards the end. It's just one of those tracks that challenges drivers in a way that you don't see in a lot of different places in the world. Lots of different types of racing, it feels like, as you go through here.
Yeah, another track as well. It's just tough to overtake on at the best of times. Really makes qualifying important. So these drivers, every single position, you see that mistake there from Potts Weaver. Scott Sullivan's going to be kicking himself that he can't capitalize. He's going to try, though, into the Dunlop chicane, try to carry the momentum on to the outside. He isn't able to do it, though. Potts Weaver parks it in the middle of the track, and actually, Scott Sullivan under threat again from Reggie King.
Yeah, I believe Scott Sullivan got bumped there, so he did get a little bit of a speed boost from King out of that corner, but King's definitely going to get pressure here into this corner. It's going to be a little little bit difficult to overtake here. I tried earlier, did not work out for me at all. I overshot it very hard.
Reggie gonna have to be playing that game of patience for right now. Has the golden ticket on the back bumper, but is that the golden ticket to the win for his class? Of course, we have red and white plates you can see on the left-hand side. They are going to be competing respectively for their class, but also to beat the other plates as well. You want to... A position's a position, doesn't matter what class you're in, but the points are going to be distributed for the red plates and the white plates.
You mentioned the difficulty overtaking here, and you can kind of see that right as we go through Casino Triangle into the last curve. It's going to be a very, very hard track to overtake on, and that's one of the opportunities you're going to have. It's definitely one of the more difficult ones, and then definitely towards the hairpin and the first corner. That is a very fast corner. We'll definitely see a lot of overtaking attempts as we ride along here with Jin. I can't read that, unfortunately.
Jan Roderick's here in to the first corner behind Aaron Miller. Aaron not budging yet. He's had a bit of a struggle this race, it is to be said, or at least the previous races. He's just been, I think, a little bit, I don't want to say rattled as of late, but out of practice, just, you know, been out of it a little bit here. So getting back into it and trying to get that pace consistent. That's the biggest thing with Aaron at the moment. I feel his consistency and finding just that little bit more pace to put him back where he was a couple months ago.
Yeah, obviously I have not been there, but Miller is going to try and stick to the consistency here, especially at Suzuka. You mentioned it's kind of just difficult to overtake, so making less mistakes and keeping your pace consistent is definitely going to be able to keep you ahead. I know people that just you run 2 seconds slower, a full second slower, and you can still keep somebody behind you for a couple laps just because of how hard it is to overtake if you're fast enough in the right spots.
Bit of a Fernando Alonso-esque defense, or Daniel Ricciardo, however you want to look at it. But Scott Sullivan here, trying to make do. Deep into the corner. Unfortunate there.
Seems to be losing the car, maybe a bit more loose setup he's got there, but gone very deep into corners. And oh my goodness, off the course is the number 621 McLaren.
Rally Dutchy. Talk about consistency there. Unfortunately, puts a tire wrong and is going to drop, I think, a couple positions as a result of that. Back onto the track, though, and head down just to pick it up from here. Of course, we still have one mandatory pit stop. It's quite a long stop here, and the drivers are going to need to choose when to do that strategically. We've had two drivers already make their one mandatory stop, Professor Kronotis and Mason Pierzhalski.
So what's the strategy, do you think, here on Suzuka if you're looking for it? Do you push early and try and get new tires, or is that just not efficient with how the pit lane is and how this track is? Are most people going to try and stay out on one set?
I think, personally, the drivers are going to stay out on one set. We might see a couple drivers go for a bit of an alternate strategy, go for that extra 5 additional seconds for tires. But overall, I'm not sure it's the right strategy. Suzuka, you're looking at a bit of tire wear here, obviously. You got a lot of left and right-hand corners, especially in that Sector 1. Your tires do get up to a good amount of heat, but you're driving GT4s, which as a result, these cars, a little bit less tire wear. They're not quite as planted onto the circuit from all of that aerodynamic mumbo-jumbo, the air that pushes on the car and whatnot. So just a little bit more forgiving on these cars. So I predict about a halfway stop, and then no tires to the end, just a little bit of a splash and dash, and, well, try to make what you can here with a fairly standard strategy.
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely GT4 cars have less wear. I mean, GT3 cars get way more wear with all that downforce, and you mentioned earlier in the previous stream I was listening to, GT4 cars have a lot more just momentum is kind of the name of the game throughout this entire track. And looking for those spots where you can keep the speed in your car without going just a little bit too fast and overshooting a corner, going too deep, is going to be crucial for this race as Raza takes that big lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, these cars not as punchy as a GT3, less torque, less horsepower, just less everything in terms of it. So you really want to maximize that minimum speed. And as Drew in chat points out, the outlap as well for the GT4s is not worth the 5 seconds. That's a great point. Of course, when you take tires, you're going to be on brand new cold tires that you have to get back up to temperature, and heating tires up in a GT4 is an absolute nightmare. And energy as well being thrown the way of Reggie King. He's going to need it. Got a battle with Scott Sullivan ahead of him.
Yeah, tires are ice cold, and you have absolutely zero grip when you're leaving in cold tires, especially in a GT4 car, just in the sense of you don't even have downforce to help you, so you're kind of like rowing a canoe, but there is a thunderstorm and a tornado happening.
It's a great analogy, actually. A couple hydrates as well. We'll hydrate up here, get some caffeination. Reggie King with a great line there, a little bit deep, but that is one of those lines that will carry the speed onto the next part of the track. Unfortunately, there's a left-hand corner that comes up right after that. All that speed is going to be turned into momentum through this S sector, which, once again, it's all about placing your car in the right spot for this sequence of corners, because every single corner is tied together. You're compromising one exit to set up for the next entrance, and that is just the story of that first sector.
Such a satisfying spot to learn too, because once you finally get it down, it just feels like like that you do that perfectly, but you never will, like 2 times in a row. But it's just an absolutely just satisfying turn to get down, and Sullivan goes, I think, a little deep there as somebody touched the grass.
Potts Weaver getting a bit out of shape, maybe feeling the pressure here from the likes of Scott. We saw Potts was not happy with his qualifying, coming into chat, very disappointed, in fact, and I mean, fair enough. You know, that's one of the things I think that drivers need to be a little bit lighter on themselves. Potts Weaver, a driver, obviously, that was in the rookie series at the very beginning, has improved his pace massively over the last year. And that with that comes that high standard. You start to say, well, I need to deliver. I need to deliver every race. And every race, well, you drive like it's your last race. But you know, in sim racing, you don't quite got that extra edge. You got to sometimes give yourself a little bit of credit where credit is due. And Potts Weaver, sitting in an amazing position currently, P5, I think it deserves a pat on the back for himself.
Absolutely, because he was very fast in that that rookie series earlier as well. And with some experience on the track, it can be, for myself, it can just be a lot to get down on yourself. Kind of very tight into that corner there, kind of almost caught that Camaro. Not sure if there was any contact, but nobody seems to have lost their car, luckily. But
I think there was, no contact that happened there, but Potts Weaver a little bit ambitious to the inside, and John Hawley with a very good block, not really allowing that McLaren to gain the speed necessary through the Casio triangle.
He's definitely gonna have an opportunity this lap with how close he's running. Weaver's car looks a little bit faster than that Camaro for now. He might have an opportunity through the S's if he can capitalize on a mistake. But that Camaro has yet to go wide, so we'll see.
Scott Sullivan also yet to go wide. Been so consistent. This is almost a new form for Scott. As Eric mentioned, though, earlier in the broadcast, Scott has a regimented training routine that he goes through in terms of sim racing. He has a streaming schedule that he sticks to pretty religiously over on AV6 Scott in terms of his practice. He gets hours each weekend to make sure that he is at his best, and it really has been showing. He's been improving time and time again and battling with the likes of the white plates, leading the red plates here. We'd mentioned it briefly, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that red plate next to Scott Sullivan's name for too long.
Yeah, I would seriously doubt that. He's been extremely talented, and you can see that just mentioning I haven't been here, but he's definitely got a lot more control of the car. He's in very, very good pace, and obviously did well that last game, last race.
Yeah, in terms of pace, next level. But Reggie King, another driver that has improved. I feel like Reggie, I expect more out of Reggie, but at the same time, I don't know, he's one of those drivers that I feel like maybe consistency is the biggest problem in terms of what he's looking for in improvements. Looking at the championship, Reggie King is leading, so that is definitely, can't take your eye off of that. He has P2, a P2, a P1, a P1, and a P2. So, maybe I'm talking a little bit light, but P7, or well, P2, I should say, in terms of in-class. So that's the biggest thing, is it's the in-class thing. That's why I want to get rid of the red plates in terms of the open. I want to see these drivers battle it out with each other, but, everyone's got their opinions, even if it's wrong.
Yeah, it does feel like everybody has the pace to be competing with each other, and kind of interested. TRACKILICIOUS could have some multi-class. I feel like multi-class races could do really well with this community, and especially in a paid community. just in the sense of everybody's there, everybody's focused, and you see that with Scott Sullivan. He very much wants to win, and you can absolutely tell that with a religious streaming schedule throughout the week.
Look at this little fight. Potts Weaver getting his elbows out. He takes the position from John Hawley. John is having none of that. Coming right back at him here onto the back bumper, but needs to be cautious. Scott Sullivan is going to wear a hole in that bumper.
John Haley there going to try his best. I think he makes contact with that car. Or no, they just bounced. Either way, into that corner there. You're going to want that position back very badly, but kind of having a bit of a pace problem behind that McLaren here as it kind of slowly stretches away, and it seems to be a little bit faster, or the Camaro seems to be a little bit faster in the straights.
See, actually, that's a great question. Looking at the pit timings, that is not the case at all. The McLaren's a rocket ship in terms of the pit wall. The fastest car on track tied with it is Potts Weaver. But 253 kph, the Camaro of John Hawley is actually 14th quickest at 245. There's almost a 10 kph difference in the straight lines. Potts Weaver, extremely rapid, but that is going to show the difference of Camaro. More nimble through the corners. Interesting. Very, very interesting.
That feels wrong, just as like a internal perspective. With a Camaro ever being more nimble than a McLaren, but it obviously happens. Is Reggie King going to try and make a move on this side? Goes to the right of Sullivan. He's going to move on the inside, and they're going to go almost too wide there. King going to back off.
Jan, that was incredible. Jan Roderick slides in and takes the position from Reggie King. That was a little bit of a bump draft there. Reggie, I think, trying to give Scott Sullivan the hurry up. That caused him to lose that momentum, and as a result, Jan Roderick says, thank you very much, and takes the position.
That's a very heads-up move, and you mentioned that a lot. Patience is extremely key here at Suzuka, and Jan Roderick's going to pay off. Found a right opportunity, and he got himself through, and now King is going to have a few positions to make up.
John Hawley really feeling the pressure here. Potts Weaver is walking away. The McLaren is quick. John Hawley here was showing a good fight for a moment. Scott Sullivan, though, the red plate putting the pressure on. Once again, though, I don't think that red plate's going to be there for too long. Reggie King also one to keep an eye on. He is going to feel a little bit wronged after that. He realized, I think, that was his mistake in terms of getting overtaken by Jan Roderick, and he's going to be more angry at himself than anyone, trying to come immediately back at it. Also, thank you to Ono Noodles for the follow. I think I missed that one. Much appreciated.
Yeah, King going to try and get back towards Roderick here, as that's kind of a four-car pack at keep an eye on, with just a lot of drivers that are, well, very talented, have a lot of potential. And you can definitely see that in Sullivan, King, Roderick, and Miller, all of them. Very good paces so far and racing together very quickly.
We do have a race leader in this session, not to, as we have not actually mentioned him one time since the beginning, but Ali Raza is comfortably walking away, 11 seconds already gained over George Elmer, who's currently in a bit of a pickle with the likes of Justin Beachley pressuring him heavily.
Yeah, Raza obviously has extremely rapid pace, and I'm not sure what that gap is. Unfortunately, I could not get into the server for whatever reason, but it is definitely a far one.
Justin Beachley keeping it calm and really just keeping the lap time similar here to the likes of George. 2/10 is the difference last lap, but he's keeping the gap the same and just waiting. Potentially here, we're going to be seeing the pit phase start up. We've seen Jacob Church. He came in last lap as he does a little bit of rally driving in that Coach Dave Academy 253 with some slip angle through the corner. Keeps it nice and tidy, though. Bit of a close call.
Almost
we're good.
Went off. Those are some cold tires. It is a blizzard, might as well be in that tires. I think he clipping the grass there. Whether he realizes it or not, I believe that might be warming his tires up a little bit.
Oh, this isn't iRacing. Come on. This doesn't quite work. Like, obviously, that's an old. For any iRacing people, they might get a little mad at me for that, but
That was what I was going for.
That's an old bug. They don't do that anymore. I don't know.
Still do, just for the memories.
Also, a stop-go 30 picked up for Jacob Church, speeding in pit lane. Come on, Jacob. I know you're watching the stream back. You know my famous saying, practice your pit entries. Stop and go 30. That's going to be a result of a speeding in pit lane. That's pretty much always how you get that penalty. And it's a pretty easy one to pick up. It's also a pretty easy one to prevent. It just takes a little bit of time in advance to the session.
I definitely would rather lose 1 or 2 seconds if you go a little too slow into the pit entry than lose 30 there. Definitely a difficult way for Church, but fortunately we're going to learn the hard way here.
I'd rather just nail my pit entries because I practiced. Okay, enough of that. Enough of that.
We should just get an ability where we can just put the word practice on the screen every time we see one of those. I feel like it would definitely get your point across.
I do need an emote. Now that you mention it, there needs to be a practice your pit entry emote or something like that. It just, you know, I've been away from the stream for a little bit. People maybe just have forgotten. Eric not quite ringing that through the ears of everybody as much as I do. But it is one of my biggest pet peeves because it's the easiest penalty to prevent.
Yeah, it definitely is, but it can be just one of those things that you don't think about even when you're practicing because you're just more focused on lap times than anything else. But yeah, practice your pit entries.
That's why I say it. It's one of the most important things. You can gain 2/10 on track by practicing for multiple hours, but you can practice for about 30 minutes and gain 2 seconds in pit lane. So, like I say, the argument's pretty cut and dry in my opinion. But
yeah, I think I would side with you if I was to be put in an argument.
Enough of making fun of Jacob Church, one of the legends of our community as well. So we see
seems to be very. I don't think we're dogging on him as much as we are just. We like to practice.
Scott Sullivan putting the pressure on to John Hawley again. John hasn't really capitulated whatsoever under the pressure. Been holding on strong. AMG looks strong as well, though. Both these cars through the Degnas, getting good rotation. A little bit of a slip there on the back end from Scott Sullivan. I think that's just a result in him pushing very, very hard. We might see him come in this lap, actually. That wouldn't surprise me. Actually, John Hawley going to be going for it onto Potts Weaver, heading into 200R. Had a much better exit here, John Hawley. But a bit too far back. I think Provolone has come into pit lane. We're starting to see our stops. I predict at least one of the drivers in this train are going to be making the stop. John Hawley should do the opposite, in my opinion, to Potts Weaver. So Potts Weaver comes into pit lane. I think John should stay out, and if Potts doesn't go in, John should go in.
Definitely time to gain from undercutting or overcutting there. It just kind of depends on your strategy and where you think you're going to come out with your pit. But definitely up to, I would say, if John might and maybe might follow if he thinks he's got, probably won't follow if he thinks he's got the pace.
I just think I don't like following in a pit lane. If you're trying to get the overtake, I always say do the opposite. They both want to go another lap, interestingly. In fact, everyone there wants to go another lap, except, no, Jan Rodrix even stays. Interesting. So these drivers very comfortable with their tires here. They definitely sooner than later will be making a stop. George Elmer makes his this lap. Ali Raza decides enough's enough. Our race leader has come into the pits, hands the lead over to Justin Beachley.
Curious how long that will be there for in terms of Beachley leading, but I definitely think it's very interesting. Like, pit strategies on Suzuka is a very fun thing, especially in GT4 racing, because it's just like you don't want to cool your tires down. It's the last thing you want, and even then, like, a slight degree change can just change so much in a GT4 car, where you're again in a canoe rather than a car that's like sucked to the ground in a GT3 series.
Seen a lot of drivers take tires, actually. Looking at the stop times, Jason Provolone elected for him. Chronotis had a 43-second stop, even though he pit on one of the first laps, so I'm not sure what happened there. Ali Raza out of the pits, took a fresh set of boots. Ali Raza had, I mean, to be fair, 5 seconds isn't going to stop Ali. You know, I think a 15-second gap coming into pit lane, so not too much of a hindrance whatsoever for him. But keeping an eye on this battle quite a lot. This is the closest battle on track, and whoa! Ooh. That is the back marker, I think, of Rally Dutchy, who says, I want nothing to do with this fight. Rally has made a pit stop and kind of just wants out of this action now. Once again, I feel that maybe these drivers waited a lap too late, but okay, Rally being very safe. I mean, fair enough. That was intentional. I just want to get out of the way. Rally did not miss the braking zone by that much.
Rally, I think, just sent that one into the safest spot on the track he could have been. That is a very tight group that is about to get down and dirty into this corner here as we see Jan Burrow come on the right side.
See Jan Roderick's outside line. Scott Sullivan going to be able to fend that one off for now. Turn to the inside for the next corner, but not enough. Here, once again, we better be seeing some pit stops here. I feel like the longer you go at this point is going to be more of a challenge. Scott Sullivan's looking like he's going to pull into pit lane, and he does a little bit late, and he should get that car stopped in time. But there we start to see the alternate strategies happening. John Hawley does, in fact, come in. Potts Weaver does the opposite.
Yeah, I definitely think it's an interesting thing because, I mean, when I was learning how to sim race, I always kind of followed just whoever the leader was going, wherever he was going, if I was in that contention. And I always think that's a really good way to learn it is, ooh, Weaver nearly loses the car. Oh, he does.
This looks like more. Is this a mechanical issue? No, he's back on track. Very respectful rejoin. Lets Jan Roderick's by and rejoins 7 seconds behind. Or, 2.5 seconds behind. Excuse. Woo-hoo. Woo. Okay, Rally Dutchy loses it there in the S's, unfortunately. Now, is that down to tire wear? Maybe. I don't think so. I think that might have just been Potts Weaver just changing. You get into a routine. You get into that comfort level where you have cars around you. All of a sudden, things change, and, well, your driving style changes a little bit. John Hawley is going to be out of the pits in P5, or P6.
It's a good spot for Hawley. Does that mean he's above Raza?
No. Raza's 15 seconds up the road.
Oh, I'm looking at
it says it. Yeah, it says it on the time.
Yeah.
Timing charts haven't updated yet. They're a little bit slow. Ollie Raza in P5 currently. Just switch those two names around on the left-hand side. I can assure you.
I was like, that was the greatest overcut of all time.
It would have been, yes. But no. John Hawley didn't take tires. That is an interesting note. He only was stationary for 27 seconds. So let's see. What does Potts Weaver do? This lap is going to be a big tell. Definitely is going to come into the pits this lap, and I predict he might change tires, but I don't know. It's a split strategy. We see most drivers taking tires. In fact, only 2 drivers haven't, Tanner Masters and John Hawley.
Yeah, that extra 5 seconds is probably going to come back and get you more seconds if you don't have as much tire wear, and I'm sure Warner after that is definitely going to take it. It's just the less tire wear you have, you kind of want to gauge, is that 5 seconds worth it? Am I going to gain more than 5 seconds if I've got those tires? And a lot of people seem to think so, as I'm not. He seems to have gotten to slow down.
He got to slow down in time. I definitely think Potts is going to rip that set of boots off, though, and throw on a new one. I think he is done with those tires, it looks like. Just really struggling for grip. Professor Chronotis, who went for that, I think, first pit stop of the night, currently in P12, has come out in front of, or Tanner Masters has come out behind him as they battle along here. Tanner's last lap was, or his best lap is a 2:15. Chronos is a 2:12. So I think we are going to see that position hold. This, though, I think Mason Pierchalski should make fairly quick work of Alex Freeman here.
Pierchalski going to try that right side. It's going to be a tough overtake here into this corner, but It seems like he's not going to try it. Good defense there from Freeman.
It was a defense from Freeman, I'll give it that.
Didn't get past him, a little risky. I don't know if that was a line or not.
A pretty big block, but it's Mason did the right thing there in backing out. I think he clearly saw that gap was not going to exist. And it was a smart choice. That was, like I say, a bit of a rude block, but hey, neither here nor there. Tanner Masters continues on, Alex Freeman, he continues on ahead here, covers that inside line heavily. Is that going to allow Mason here to get the better exit for turn 1? Mason has planted himself on the racing line. The McLaren gets a little unsettled on exit. I think the McLaren, though, is just too quick. The Porsche, the little go-kart engine, it's got to wind itself up here. Has the slipstream. You can see gaining, but is he going to be close enough towards the first corner? He is. He's going to make the lunge. Almost goes into the back bumper. He keeps it clean, though. and is going to have to try again. That's going to be deep, though, for the second part of the corner, and Mason Pierchalski does get it done. Or does he? Yes, he does.
Freeman thought about that inside there, but Pierzhowski just had the better line into these S's. If he can nail it, he can get a little farther from Freeman. You kind of don't want to see Freeman too close to your bumper on that back straight with how fast that McLaren is.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of drag, though. The front front bonnet there not quite fully attached, so damage for Alex Freeman. That's definitely going to affect that straight line speed. This is Provolone and Potts Weaver. Now, Potts is in P8. How has that happened?
Yeah,
I guess the overcut just did not work.
Ooh, Provolone nearly goes into the back. Almost does again. Good job by him to move to that right side.
Whew.
But I'm not... Ooh, some Parmesan. Some cheese. Is that Parmesan? I don't know. There's some cheese emojis, man.
Stinky cheese is what you're looking for. Jason Provolone, the stinky cheese man, gets a little out of shape when he was going towards 130R, but doesn't end up hitting Potts Weaver. Potts Weaver, though, like I say, severely out of position after that pit stop, and I think that's just simply down to that waiting. That overcut did not work out. Obviously, we saw that mistake as well from Potts Weaver. That is, never mind, that is obviously what has put him down so far. I forgot that he had a little bit of an error on his in-lap, so that has cost him big time, and John Hawley now onto the podium.
Yeah, it's going to be a great for Hawley, who now has some space, but does have a McLaren behind him, and better for anybody looking for that P5 in that class, but you know, have to defend the McLaren on his back bumper as he slowly seems to be approaching.
Look at this.
Speaking of slowly approaching,
Tanner Masters feeling it right now. That code 3. That car is quick in a straight line, though. The McLaren has no damage on the front bumper. Tanner Masters 6th quickest in the speed trap at 249 kph. When you take a look at Mason Pierzchalski, 244. 5 kph difference.
That's a big difference, especially on a track like Suzuka, where you've got those big straights. It definitely makes it a little bit interesting. Mason, I'm just going to go with Mason. Doing really well in these S-turns, seems to have just better pace than I feel like everybody he's gone against in a battle, but just definitely having to make some adjustments with that McLaren in front as he takes an inside line.
Is he going for it here? He is. Oh my goodness. Is he going to get it done on the outside of the Degna? What an overtake. Mason Pierzchalski with a commanding and dominant send. That took some serious confidence. And Tanner Masters, well, I mean, honestly, all he could do is tip his hat at that point. He gave all the defense that he possibly could, and it was not enough.
Yeah, Mason seems to have a lot of beauty. Seems to have a beautiful night going, that beautiful livery, and so many good overtakes. He's definitely made the most out of that go-kart engine Porsche there, but to be honest with you, I am not sure he needs much else than that.
You know, I think it's still Mason's going to be a bit upset with the results. P13's not where he wants to be overall, but he's been, in terms of battles out on track, nice and entertaining. We see, oh no, Alex Freeman loses it in the battle with Tanner. I don't know if there was contact, but unfortunately, that's going to be more front-end damage there picked up, and he's going to be stranded there. Returns to garage, actually just calls it a night. Alex Freeman says, enough's enough. I've seen it. I'm throwing in the towel. Fair enough, honestly. You know, I always pride going to the end and getting that checkered flag, but there's a time and place for everything, and yeah, with 12 minutes and 30 seconds left, fair enough. You know, you hit the wall one too many times on that one. But we'll come at it next time, Alex Freeman. I've no doubt about that. Side by side, though, Reggie King and Jan Rodrix.
King going to go for that same move, going to have way more speed coming at that, but you're going to have to make sure he gets that inside line secured. He will, and will take the regular racing line, as behind him the two Mercedes are now going to fight. That is a tough line to be in. Those are P1, 2, and 3 for that class.
Yeah, Scott Sullivan losing out in the pit phase. I think he even went for an earlier stop. Looking at his times, he was stationary for 35 seconds, and that made the difference. So I don't know if he missed his pit box or whatnot, but whatever happened in pit lane, 31 seconds stationary and 32 for Reggie King and Jan, that is what the difference is currently. So Scott Sullivan with a slight mistake. It really cost him here, and it cost him not one, but 2 positions.
Yeah, but obviously it's just Scott Sullivan has had that speed all night, and I feel like he could definitely find his way with how close he's been to the bumpers of both of these Mercedes here to a higher place on that podium. And it'd be a miss to see him lose it. He's done very, very well, and I would like to see him at least in that bronze medalist position.
Car Guy for Life 2, thank you very much for the follow. I don't think you're the only one in this chat that's a car guy for life, or a car gal for that matter. Outside line attempt there from Scott Sullivan. Not making anything of it, though. Good look. Ambitious. Would have turned to the inside if he got it alongside enough, but not quite there. Loses out big time. A second now. These 3 AMGs. I think this is going to be the story for the rest of the race here.
I think that's going to be the closest battles we see, as Ali Raza, as we mentioned him for maybe the third time tonight, has got that commanding lead, obviously, up in front.
Commanding? 19 seconds. I don't... Commanding is an understatement. There's no word to describe. He's already off on his way to the next track at this stage.
Maybe commanding cubed. Get 3 commandings in a row multiplied by each other, because that man is gone. Long.
He's on his way to Coda at this stage.
Driving all the way across the Pacific to Austin, as we see the professor here, the T-Swift car against the Martini.
Outside line being taken here for the AMG. Not going to go late enough onto the brakes, but we're going to see that switchback attempt here as Chrono tries to carry the speed onto the exit. Back end steps out, though.
Taylor Swift having a little bit of trouble through that last corner, but definitely a little bit faster in those straights. Gonna have the extra power he might need to get through that corner, but definitely a really, really good line here through the S's, both of them.
What has happened to John Hawley? John Hawley has dropped a position to George Elmer.
Made that pass stick like glue.
I'm not sure if that was a pass or if that was... What happened there? I feel it. Oh, no, I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure on that.
I saw my opportunity, and I wasn't sure I'd get it with 9 minutes left, so I had to use the glue joke.
It's a good one. You gotta time that one. Scott Sullivan, though, trying to time his overtake here. Running out of time. That's the variable here, and it's not his friend. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is his friend. There's a very terrible line from Jan Rodrix. That will definitely be a track cut added to the tally. The outside line taken for Scott Sullivan again. He really likes that line. Tried it last time around. Didn't make it stick through the Casio triangle. Tried again. Didn't happen. Has a good exit, though, heading down to the first corner.
Yeah, he's going to have a great opportunity turn 1. Wouldn't be surprised to see if he tries to take a different line here and find a way in as the helicopter spins around.
Cameraman not quite able to keep up with the quickness that is Scott Sullivan and Jan Rodrix.
This battle has kind of let King get a little bit more of a lead. It's more just now a battle for P2 as King tries to find a bigger lead as Scott Sullivan kind of stiffs that bumper trying to find an opportunity.
You know, one of the things about the red plates that I love, and it's not just the red plates, for that matter, oh no, Scott Sullivan taps the back bumper of Jan Rodrix. He lifts, though. Nicely done. Doesn't want to gain an unfair advantage. Almost loses the car himself. Does manage to keep it. Scott, though, immediately head back down along with Jan Rodrix. You can see when that happens to you in a race, all that does is make you angry when you're Jan. Even if you know it's unintentional, obviously, Scott with no ill will. That might have been another pickup there in terms of track warnings. That was definitely an off track. You pick up 4 of those, you're going to get a drive-through penalty, and that's a mandatory penalty given to you by the in-game stewards.
That's definitely going to affect the race if he cannot stay on that line. But Scott Sullivan, despite the slip up, had a little bit of a good run going still on him, but kind of lost it through the hairpin there as they go down into the spoon.
Potts Weaver gonna be, well, feeling it here at this point. He says, I see these 2 cars in front of me. I'm much quicker. In fact, looking at lap times, he's an entire second quicker than Jan Rodrix's last lap. So there is a definite chance here for 2 positions in a very short period of time for this, I think, showroom ready. I don't think there's any damage picked up on really any of these cars, so all of them ready to go here. The McLaren, the AMG, and the AMG.
And it's interesting with 6 minutes how patient he's going to be, because obviously he wants those big positions. Off goes Roderick's.
And he is going to lift and hand that position over to Scott Sullivan. He's going to try to get back onto the throttle and defend from Potts Weaver, but that lift was a little bit too much. I respect it, but that was too nice from Jan Roderick. You got to lift it on the straight just slightly to allow Scott by and nobody else. I know it's, you know, it's all fair. It's all for fun at the end of the day, but in terms of gaining that advantage, obviously there would have been an advantage gained from Jan.
Yeah, now we'll see Weaver, I assume, be a little more aggressive on Sullivan with only one car to pass in that 7th position. Definitely going to want that opportunity to just have a little bit higher of a race with how he's had his race go. Just not awesome. I believe he may have gotten... No, never mind. That was somebody else. I was going to think about damage, but that was Church.
Now, Potts had that little self-inflicted spin through the S's, of course, before he went into pit lane. It's what cost him all the time. He was battling for the podium at one stage, but it's a bit of a fall from grace. And now for P6 is the best that he's looking at here tonight.
Yeah, definitely looking for a little more, and a miracle in front if King may be missing a line or something of the sort with just over 5 minutes left. Probably going to see a lot more aggressive moves from Roderick and less of Weaver. But I assume Roderick is going to try and find their way back into this, but maybe a little bit too nice of a lift, obviously, that you've said, but definitely still has that pace to come out and beat these guys.
Actually, looking at the lap times, out of the 3 drivers, Jan Roderick is the slowest. And actually his best lap, I'm not sure he's had too much luck in terms of valid laps, because his best lap is actually a 2:20. I would imagine, yeah, he's just, I mean, he really is struggling to keep it between the mayo and the mustard. I know I've said it a few times this session, but it is what you need to do, and I think he might be getting closer to a track limits warning. That's why he had to back off just that little bit. Here's the send, though.
Oh my goodness.
Into the Casio triangle. Potts Weaver caught sleeping at the wheel, and he makes it look easy in the baseline racing.
I mean, he sent that all the way from Mount Fuji. Very heads up. Weaver, not the greatest line and not that fast into that corner, but Roderick's still going to have to fend him off into T1 here as Weaver takes that right side line. Going to maybe go outside. That Mercedes going to try and keep the momentum likely on the outside line.
Late onto the brakes for Potts Weaver. Deep into the corner, though. Is that going to allow the AMG back? No, it seems that he is able to close the corner off. He's got to try it. There's still an opportunity for the AMG, but no, the corner there is finally closed off, and Potts Weaver has taken that position away from Jan Roderick. Jan tucking up to that back bumper as we are going to be approaching the penultimate lap the next time around.
Suzuka is a very long circuit. I tend to realize we've only had a minimal amount of laps in terms of 45 minutes and what I had in my head, but it's 2.5 liters a lap. I definitely know that's up there in terms of how much fuel you're going to need, but it's a very long race, and it doesn't feel as long when you look at the lap times, or lap count, yeah.
It's not the longest track in terms of distance. It's a very average length at 3.6 miles if you count it average. And there's obviously your Spa-Francorchamps at 4.3, your Snetterton's at 2.4, your Valencia's at 2.4. But it's what makes this track, the lap time, so long, because that is absolutely true, is the fact there's 18 corners here on this track, and each one of them is an absolute challenge. It's a battle pretty much every corner to make it, and that is where the lap time gets added on here. You see these long sweeping corners where you just wait to get back onto the throttle and punch it for this full speed here on the back straight.
Obviously credit to the rookies, even though we are 2 minutes left. I expected with that kind of track it was going to be much less of a clean race, but Roderick has a really good run on Weaver here. Diving down that left side line, he's going to have a chance to get it through this corner. If he's going to risk it too wide, he's going to make it stick. If he can keep Weaver out the other side, it's going to go down to this hairpin, depending on how far Weaver sends it. He's going to get that line. Roderick has got the place as long as he can keep it clean, and he does.
Almost got out of shape there, but the key word there is almost. Baliaraza came to the line last lap. We may get another lap. I think we will. Yeah, we will get another lap. But lap times here, 2:13 in terms of Jan Roderick's last time around, and that was enough to beat the 2:14 of Pottsweaver. Now, in terms of lap times, these two are a bit slower than the rest of the pack. That is due to the fact that they are currently in the middle of a knife fight in a phone booth.
Fisticuffs throughout this entire circuit, and definitely bad news that they're going to have an extra lap for Roderick because he wants to keep that Weaver off his bumper, and he's definitely got space right now, and kind of curious to see how, with that McLaren straight speed, if he can keep him off his bumper.
One thing that I am also very fascinated about, and we'll take a look a little bit later, but we are running out of time for it, is Reggie King, who's on fresh tires battling with John Hawley. Gap is 2 seconds currently, so needs to gain more, and I think he might just run out of time before that tire advantage really kicks in.
Mistakes definitely still possible here, especially in crunch time. You know, you have somebody behind you that has an out as Weaver thinks about the send. Roderick goes a bit wide. Weaver might have a run. He's not going to. Roderick's kind of lucky that Weaver didn't get the line he wanted, I believe, but maybe that was just a bit of a too cautious send from Weaver.
I think it was a good choice to back out. If he went for it, that probably wouldn't have worked out. But yeah, that would have been a very ambitious send. But I respect the look nonetheless.
In my mind, it's like, how ambitious can you be without dying? And to be honest, I don't know if Weaver would have lost everything there. I don't know how close the car is behind a Weaver, but oh, way too close to do that. Yeah, no, I didn't see that.
Let's just say that, yeah, Jan Roderick's probably would have closed the gap, and he would have had every right to do so. I think Pottsweaver saw the writing on the wall there. He has one more attempt, though, at it here. That's a fairly tidy line from Pottsweaver, and he is going to be able to maximize that exit speed. Gets unsettled on the curb, though. The AMG, a rocket ship, as well as the McLaren. It's really maximizing that exit speed. The slipstream is going to help here. Looking down towards the first corner. And he is going to just tuck in behind and wait. Goes deep. Potential switchback opportunity on the cards here if the 133 goes deep, but he keeps it nice and tight. He uses the racing line and isn't really able to capitalize. Thank you to Ascari for the follow. Much appreciated. Great name.
Yeah, I'd give that a 10 out of 10 name, and obviously I have the best rating of all time. But either way, we're going to see definitely Weaver try to get more aggressive, and I kind of expect him to be way more aggressive once we hit that hairpin, spoon curve, and backstretch area, because I definitely say he's had the advantage so far in certain situations. It kind of depends. They've been going back and forth on who's faster through those current turns, but I definitely think Weaver has the ability there, as he seems to get a faster line here approaching that hairpin.
Has a good line, but is a bit too far back to really make anything of it again. You can see he's, well, he just parks it on the racing line, which is exactly what he needs to do. Maximize the exit speed and try to do something towards Spoon here. But I gotta say, Pottsweaver running out of opportunities. The Casio triangle, I think, is where it's going to come down to. But as we have it, we'll resume with that in a moment. Speaking of the triangle, Ali Raza coming around the final corner now, as he is going to head to the line and take the victory here for the GT4 Open Round 6 at Suzuka. Dominance, understatement. 29 seconds is the gap. We'll check back here. This is the Potts-Weaver battle here side by side. Jan Roderick is going to have that unfavorable line as they head towards 130R, the outside. It's going to turn to the inside, though, of course, for the triangle. But no, Potts-Weaver's ahead. Is he deep, though? I think he is a little bit deep. No, keeps it on track. Pottsweaver now parks it in the center. One last chicane. Jan Roderick's onto the outside. There's a little bit of clattering as they reach the mid-corner. Pottsweaver gets loose. Back onto the throttle, though. The McLaren's acceleration is going to be superior. The cutback for the AMG, and it's not enough. Pottsweaver takes home the P6 with a hard-fought battle with Jan Roderick and a flash of the headlights at the end, just as a little bit of a tip of the hat as they go side by side to the first corner. That was a heck of a battle.
Oh my goodness, that was intense down to the last second. I'm surprised nobody got shunted off and the car flipped with how fast they were going through those last corners, and especially that the contact at Casio triangle. But we do see a battle forming between Taylor Swift and another McLaren.
I think Chronotis is going to be able to hold this one off, though, and it looks like that is the case. The McLaren loses out on this opportunity. But of course, that McLaren versus AMG battle, really the description of tonight. I think we saw that time and time again. And that is going to be the race results. We're going to start to wrangle everybody up as we head back to the booth. And welcome back, everybody. We'll get Carson up here in a moment. Unfortunately, can't do everything at once live. We need to do a bunch of other button presses first. There we go. As we get everything ready. And I'll scoot over in the desk here real quick as we scooch. There we go. Nicely done. And will it work? It worked.
Oh, there
we go.
Oh, wait, wrong hand. There I am.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope everyone enjoyed. What a race that was as we had it. Ollie Raza is going to be coming home there for the race win by an absolute mile. Justin Beachley behind in second, John Hawley in third. Ollie Raza, yeah. Let's see. We're going to land some post-race interviews here as we have everybody, actually, or mostly everybody. We're still looking for... No, that's everyone. You love to see it. That's great. All right, we'll start off with John Hawley then. In P3... John Hawley, who was very unsatisfied with the qualifying result. It seems like that didn't matter here too much tonight, as he put on quite the battle in the BBC Planet Earth, comes home for a podium.
Hey, yeah. I had to switch it up. My race pace was not there today. You saw that in qualifying. Had to switch it up a bit. I'm not really too sure what happened to Elmer. I don't know if it was a fuel issue or something, but I saw him peel into the pits, 2 laps before? But other than that, I was just wrestling with old tires, just took the alternate strategy, and I saw 3 Mercs behind me, I think, in the last 5 laps, and I was sweating.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as we get some things settled in the booth, a little bit of positional issues. John, in terms of your raw pace, I will say I don't think you expected a podium. You dropped down the results there a little bit at one point, had some very nice battles, but in terms of the action, you held off Reggie King for a pretty fat minute in this race.
Yeah, thinking back, I think I had a really good start and found myself in a decent position. And I knew from the start I wanted to focus on traction out of the exits and save my tires. And the plan was never to take tires and just try to do this alternate strategy. And I think it worked. I don't know. I think.
Well, you're on the podium here talking to us tonight. And I think if you took 5 additional seconds, Reggie King, Scott Sullivan, and potentially even Potts Weaver would have been in front of you. So I think that might have been the right call.
Excellent. Yeah.
And Justin Beachley also followed suit without it. But, before we move on to Justin Beachley, John, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Oh, I'll do the Jake Wells special. I'll thank my wife and children.
There you go. That's always a good one to thank. So, of course, shout out to all of the partners there, the Simracing partners, as everybody. It's a lot of time and dedication put in. And John, the time and dedication's paid off here tonight because you're back on the podium.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. As we move on, up next, it is going to be Justin Beachley, and Carson has had a chance to catch up with him.
Well, Beachley, you had a really, really interesting race. Kind of a lot of different battles throughout the pack. I want you to tell me what do you think your favorite part of the race was? I just kind of want your perspective on that.
It was a pretty chill race. My start was not great, which it happens a lot, unfortunately. So I was behind George Elmer for the first stint, and kind of banking on him taking tires, so I decided not to, just to get the track position, and that kind of worked out. And then second stint, he was catching me. I could see the delta coming down, and I was a little bit concerned, and then I think he may have run out of gas and had to do a splash and go at the end. So it ended up being pretty comfortable, but it was a very clean race. It was nice to see. I qualified P2, and then I saw the gap to Ollie, and I'm like, well, he's going to be all by himself today. And that was kind of the case. But, glad to have P2. I wasn't really expecting, going into the season to get any podiums because of the people in this championship. But, Suzuka is definitely my favorite track, so it kind of showed through tonight.
Yeah,
No, I mean
congrats on-
absolute dominance. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut it. That was my fault.
I was gonna hand it over to you, but I was gonna say congrats very much on that P2. You had a great race, and pace was there.
And Justin, before we move on, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
You know, gotta thank the big boss, Eric Acassian. If it wasn't for him, you know, none of this would be possible. So, big ups to Eric and everybody that races here. This championship especially, it's kind of boring for me as a steward because there haven't really been any incidents to go through this season or even last season. So, really a big credit to everybody in this championship. The racing's really clean, it's really close, and you know, just appreciate everybody that comes in every week.
Don't jinx it, Beachley. But yes, I gotta agree with you. It's been quite the championship, even for the rookies. Just an overall super clean night. Now, obviously, before we move, oh wait, no, that we just did that. Anyways, Justin, thank you. Sorry, I'm doing like a million things right now, but that's okay. Justin, have a great night. We're gonna move on now to Ollie Raza, the razzle dazzle himself, who managed to take the win here tonight by over 30 seconds. Ollie, there's not much to say.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a Monday night drive, you know, just chilling, get a nice win.
Yeah, I was going to say, in terms of, well, you had a nice battle on track. Well, you did this, no, you drove very well for a while.
I think that's about it. Yeah.
It was really in terms of things that had happened in the race. I mean, how were back markers? I suppose you probably had a couple back markers.
No, maybe only one or two. I couldn't really catch up to any.
Well,
I think in
all
the end of
yours,
the
everybody. No, continue.
In the end of the race, like, I had such a big gap, and there was only like 15 seconds left for the race to end, so I was considering just stopping. But I saw a bunch of people fighting, so I didn't want to ruin their fight, so I did another lap.
Fair enough. No, that was, like I say, Ollie, there's not much to say about tonight because it was just that good. So, yeah, I mean, is there anyone you'd like to thank before we move on?
No, man, thank you guys for streaming and, yeah, putting on a good show.
Awesome, thank you. Ollie Raza, race winner tonight and our championship leader at that, so going to continue that one on pretty strong. But as we have it, John Hawley forgot to mention, John, how did you... John, come on, man.
Oh, I just saw it.
You've one job. We got Scott Sullivan in here, actually. So let's, why don't we grab Scott? Yeah, so we have Scott Sullivan here who managed to finish on the podium, actually. Finish P2 in the red plates. So, I gotta say, Scott, not quite what you wanted, I would imagine. Welcome back, first off.
Thank you. No, it was well-fought battle. I got to give props to both Jan and Reggie there. They were defending really hard. It looked like both of them opted to not take tires, where I did, and could definitely tell a pace difference, but their defenses were both just on point and couldn't find a spot to get by them, really, until Jan made a mistake and was able to capitalize there at least.
It seemed like at one point that you had made a mistake because you were dominating for, I wouldn't say dominating, but you were leading those guys for a good majority of time, and then the pit phase happened, and you had said remain stationary for, I think, 3 additional seconds in the pit stop. Now, what caused that?
I think the difference was just me taking the tires, because all I did, I put in 30-ish liters, which would have been under my 25, but, you know, that few extra seconds for the tire change.
Yeah, in terms of stop time, I guess they had 32 seconds and you had a 36-second stop time.
Oh,
so they
interesting.
So
Maybe
just a little slow on the ball, I think.
Must be. I need to go and start setting up the manual car start. So I think that's definitely delaying my pit starts.
Yeah, I would say, because I was gonna say, like, that seemed to be the only difference that I noticed tonight. Really, was just that stop, which was quite the difference. As I said, 4 seconds separating you two in terms of stop time. Both taking tires, so.
Okay.
But good note. Scott Sullivan, though, back on the podium, P2 here tonight. Is there anyone else that you'd like to thank again?
I don't have any additional, but just again, thanks to both my community and the TRACKILICIOUS community for everything they do.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Scott, once again, and congratulations on your podiums. I can't wait to see you back out there next time.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'd like
Bye,
to
y'all.
thank Scott for some great racing tonight. That was absolutely excellent from him.
Thank you.
Absolutely. As we have it, we are going to be ending. And once again, thank you, everybody. I hope you all have had a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. I'm Mike Nause in the booth. Carson joining me tonight for the rookies. Thank you. Or for the open, excuse me. Thank you, Carson.
No problem. Hope to be back here as a main staple character on this epic TV show. Looking to get better. Looking to, I don't know, learn to love racing a lot more than I already have in a new community. So thank you very much, everybody, for having me. And as I always say, do your homework, because I'm normally in a high school level stream, but do your work.
No, do your homework.
Have a great night, everybody.
Do your homework in racing. Absolutely. Do your racing homework. He's 100% right.
Entries.
Practice your pit entries. That's a good one to end on. Thank you all once again, everybody. We'll be back on Tuesday, tomorrow, I guess. Eric will be back tomorrow. We are going to be raiding. We're going to raid Orange Ninja is what I'm going to say. But do head on over, doing some ACC racing. Thank you all once again. It's been my pleasure, Mike Nause. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you and good night.